okay to keep going. I want to jump on over to that surprise witness now, and just jump into her coverage wherever she is.
Asking whether she remembered telling Diddy that she was multitask.
Whatchamacallit, fine, delicious, baby. Before we jump into her, let me just let you know, Mia is back on the stand. I believe she's still being cross-examined by the defense. So that's what we're going to catch up. And I ain't heard y'all say nothing, so I'm going to keep going.
Worked well with and Mia said she thought she did. Okay, 4 minutes ago, CNN.com, defense attorney Brian Steele is going through a resume that Mia created before she started working for Diddy. The resume said she provided round-the-clock support to Mike Myers when she was his assistant in 2008 and 2009. She pointed out that the resume did say she had thick skin. She said, "I thought I did," Mia said.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Brian Steele
Shout out to your skincare.
is still asking these questions. Okay, so the last tweet we read from Inner City Press was 11 minutes ago. Diddy's attorney, Brian Steele, says, in 2008, 2009, you say you provided round-the-clock support, all personal and professional needs, keeping passports. They were all collected. She said, I don't exactly remember because I didn't travel. She's like, with Mike Myers, I didn't travel. So I didn't collect passports. I guess Brian Steele's trying to show that this is industry standard to take all the passports for all your staff and just hold them hostage. But I mean, I think that's a little bit strange.
I think so too.
Mia said, well, with Mike Myers, I didn't travel with him. Okay, but you did travel with Diddy, didn't you? She said, oh, yeah, I did. Yeah. So when you said they had your passport, they had everyone's passport. Isn't that true? She said, yeah, they had everybody's passport. Maybe nobody could leave.
That's not normal. I travel too.
And you consider yourself to be a strong person? She said, I'm good at teaching people, not necessarily I'm at enforcing things. But you consider yourself to be a leader, wouldn't you? She's like, I don't know about all that.
What's his point?
Let's go to the Independent. Okay, we get a little journal entry here from Ariana Bayo from New York. This is the Independent, 31 minutes ago. Sunny morning. As week 4 of the trial begins, I'm back, Ariana said, at the federal court for the continuation of the cross-examination of Mia, a former Diddy employee who has testified about witnessing and experiencing his abuse. It's a sunny but cool morning. Is it ever going to get warm, y'all? It is June and it is cold on the East Coast. It's sunny but cool in Manhattan. On Friday, we left off in cross-examination with Brian Steele, a defense attorney for Diddy, questioning Mia's testimony using old social media posts she made praising Diddy. Steele accused Mia of lying about her recount of sexual abuse at the hands of Diddy, insinuating that the contact was not unwanted.
Right, that's true.
Mia returns to the stand. I'm just making sure we're caught up with everything. This is the Mirror.
I know I was going on a outing with my school a few weeks ago, maybe last month, and my boss came and asked me for my passport. And I was like, for what? And he was like, because I get a discount on your entry fee with your passport. And I was like, well, I need that passport right away, on the grounds, right away. And he bought our tickets and brought my passport right back. But I did have a school in China that tried to keep my passport and my work permit. And I was like, hell no. I paid for both of those. Those are my property. Abso-fucking-lutely not. Still got both of those documents.
Yes, that's when I stopped working for Diddy.
That's not normal. That's your personal ID. That's like UPS having their driver's licenses in their possession.
Okay. Things seem to have slowed
I
down
know
a bit.
the defense is just trying to confuse the jury at this point, but they're not simple-minded people, hopefully. Heck yeah, they try to do that so that you can't leave in the middle of the night when they mistreat you. Try to take your passport, try to keep your work permits. Nigga, please.
Mel said, could this be the one who actually deleted the video? I think it must be. That's my opinion. Because, and we'll see today when he comes up to testify, but this Eddie Garcia, I think, was remember whenever the first guy, what was his name? Israel Flores.
Yeah.
The one who took the video on his phone, the phone video, he said when he returned to work a few days later to look for that footage of Diddy that he had seen, it was gone. It was deleted. But he also said that he didn't, when he was there that day when the incident happened at the Intercontinental Hotel, the guy who first testified, Israel Flores, he said that he did not have the permissions, the passcodes to log in and rewind the footage or even delete it or anything like that. That was the supervisor. So I'm just assuming this Eddie Garcia is the supervisor. And the reason that he's pleading the fifth is because maybe he was the one that actually deleted the footage. But we're going to see. We're going to see later. It could be. That was something that I did think. Thank you, Brissy Girl, for the $2 Australian. Thank you, Victoria Anderson, for the $4.99. Shout out to my uncle in the chat, Uncle Dut. Shout out to the 504. Thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat. Once Uncle Dut is in the chat, I'm not scared of nobody because he's going to come get y'all. My uncle's going to take care of y'all if y'all aren't doing anything untoward.
Delicious, yes. We still talking about fries.
Shout out to the 504. Thank you, Mary, for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Shout out to CMT for the $1.99. Same person released YSL Woody interviews. If you know, you know. Huh. Thank you for the $1.99. I don't know.
Well, you know, I'll tell you.
Shout out to you, Jew. Little cousin.
There was one time Zoo Tours. I was at a tattoo parlor in China. And it was during the pandemic. And we were the enemy. I was an American and we were the enemy because of Donald Trump. And so there was a couple people who saw me and my girlfriend and my daughter there, and they called the police on us because for some reason they thought we were there illegally. I happen to have my passport on me. I keep it on me at all times. I'm a black person. I'm not a white person. So I always have my passport on me. And the police asked to see my passport, and I pulled it out, and I was able to show them that the last time I left and came back to China was in August of 2019. So I wasn't there illegally. I showed them the stamp from the airport. See, that's something you can't have if you just have a copy of your passport. But I was able to pull out my passport and show them the exact stamp with the arrows that showed I came into China the last time, August of 2019. So I've been here. This was in January, February, March, April, somewhere around April or May of 2020. And I was able to prove, because I had my passport on my person, that I was there legally. If that wasn't the case, I probably would have been detained until I could prove that I was there legally. So I always have my passport on me, honey. It's in my wallet, okay? My daughter's passport card is in my wallet. I was able to show a security guard a couple weeks ago that she was born in China by pulling out her passport card and showing it to him. So that's just something I always have on me. I used to keep a laminated copy, but then I had enough black friends randomly get stopped by the police and asked to show their passports. So from now on, wherever I am, wherever I go, I keep my passport on me at all times. I really do. When I go to London next weekend, I will have my passport in my fanny pack at the Beyonce concert. Don't start now, won't be none, because it will be on me at all times. If you understand what I'm saying. I keep it on me, baby.
Said, I wrote, I had a nightmare. I was being chased by R. Kelly and you saved me.
What?
The person you say R'd you saved you in your dream? Objection. Okay, the judge is like, yeah, I mean, you need to rephrase this question. Okay, here, what did you write? Sending you all the love in the world. Now, here's the other thing, too. Like, someone could be a victim of something and not know it. There's that option. Like, not everybody knows the legal definition of every single crime.
Right.
Okay. Now, this is Brian Steele doing what lawyers do.
Being confused.
I do believe everybody is, entitled to a zealous defense. But just because you reach out to somebody and say love you doesn't mean they didn't R you. Now, I can understand how some of y'all have a hard time wrapping your mind around that. I understand how some of y'all would never do that. But it doesn't necessarily mean it didn't happen. The only people knows that whether it happened or not is like the people there. And if Diddy is convicted, then it happened, and we can all say it. He's guilty of it.
She might even know she was raped.
But you have to be really careful, because I think that because the defense doesn't have a strong defense,
Right.
they're not really asking about the stuff that's really indefensible. They're just trying to destroy this woman's credibility, trying to destroy her confidence, trying to destroy her
credibility,
certainty. And I also think trying to send a message that anybody else that thinks that they're going to testify against Diddy is going to get beat up like this. Because with Cassie, they really didn't beat her up.
I mean, this is witness intimidation, live and in color.
It was because she was pregnant. Maybe it was because Mark Agnifilo just doesn't do it this way. Or who questioned her? Anna Estevallo.
Yeah,
whoever it was. Maybe it was because they just don't do it that way.
It was a woman.
Who did question her?
I think it was Anna Estevallo. It's a mistake that they even have a man.
Westmoreland? Was it Attorney Westmoreland? I don't even remember now.
It's a mistake that they even have a man cross-examine.
So she's texting him, though. Okay? She's texting Diddy. And so what Diddy's team is trying to do is say, there's no way Diddy abused this girl. Because if he did, she would never text him again. And we all know that's just not necessarily, the case. Like, people can be abused and text somebody. Now, does it make for a good look? Does it make for a slam dunk case for the prosecution? Well, no, it doesn't. However, life is messy, and there's no such thing as what you call a perfect victim.
Yeah.
She wrote to him, happy birthday, Christmas, happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, whatever, 2018. She said she had just gone to Kim Porter's funeral. What about this message the next year, 2019? She had a nightmare. She was being chased by R. Kelly, and Diddy saved her.
He took a place.
And here, what did you write? She said, sending you all the love in the world. Brian Steele said, you were not in his grip anymore. Mia said, yeah, but it's psychological. Like, this is normal. Like, she's trying to explain it. And I think she was doing a better job at first. I mean, I don't know, because I'm not in the courtroom. All I can do is read these tweets. But I think at first when she was like, I can't really explain it to you. You got to ask a doctor. You got to ask somebody that understands this stuff. Because to me, it also doesn't really make sense. Like, why would I keep reaching out to him? But it's just like this psychological cycle. Like, you're trying to earn their favor, because if you earn their favor, then they're not going to abuse you anymore.
Somebody jog my memory. What is it called? I call it post-traumatic slave syndrome. But what is it called? The syndrome that came, it was named after those people who were held hostage at that bank. I think it was in Germany. And then they had been held hostage for so long that they started taking pity on the person that was holding them hostage. Starts with an S. What is it, y'all? Put it in the chat. Y'all know what it is. I just can't remember it.
5-7 years, and it just doesn't. It feels like it was just a million years ago, but also yesterday.
Right, Stockholm syndrome. Thank you.
So then Brian Steele starts getting a little sassier. He's getting a little bit sassier. What didn't you understand? That Mr. Combs was brutal to you. What didn't you understand? Diddy was apparently so brutal to you. Why did you write this? Objection, Your Honor. Objection, the prosecution says. This is argumentative. He's just beating her up for no reason. It's not helping anything.
Oh, yep.
The judge said, yeah, get your ass over here to the sidebar. So they're doing that. They're playing the white noise.
Taryn, welcome in.
Let's go to CNN and see if they've said anything for 18 minutes.
Yeah, the defense is just trying to confuse the jury at this point. Hopefully
Okay, they did just now. Puff used to be my protector, the witness said. The defense team is going through text messages between Diddy and his former assistant, Mia. In 2018, Mia texted Diddy during the Christmas and New Year holidays. Merry Christmas, love you so much. She had just seen Diddy at Kim Porter's funeral. Porter died November 2018. A few weeks later, January 15th, Mia texted Diddy. She was thinking about him because she had a nightmare that she was trapped in an elevator with R. Kelly. And Diddy saved her, according to a message. Now, didn't we just read a story on Friday or Thursday about somebody getting trapped in an elevator, Diddy, and then we're trapped in an elevator at the vote or die thing, or at the, God, what was that, his 40th birthday or something. We just read something about them all being trapped in an elevator. In March 2019, this is when Britney Spears was being tortured at Bridges to Recovery, according to her, in the same neighborhood where Diddy has his California house. And we haven't seen the raids from the California house yet, have we?
Nope.
I don't think we have.
Nope.
I don't think we saw what they found in the California house in the pictures yet. I think we saw in the Miami one. I think we saw the New York hotel room. But they haven't released those California house pictures. I'm wondering if it's the cases and cases of baby oil is in there. Because, I mean, we have seen a lot of baby oil, but 1,000 things of it.
Yeah, that is crazy.
March 2019.
That is nuts.
The very, very first inception of the Free Britney movement proper. It's going to end up being important. I know y'all think it's like out of left field when I mention it, but it's a web in the webs. Okay, it's gonna become important. I'm telling you, in my psychic prediction. She also reached out to him in March, sending all the love in the world. Defense attorney Brian Steele asked Mia if she was still under Diddy's grip at that time, even though she wasn't working for him anymore. She said, yeah, she still was, psychologically. She said also, Puff used to be my protector. Also, these were based around tragic events that happened in his life. She pointed out that the text was sent within a few months of Kim Porter passing away.
So much oil, baby. It's a distraction, though, because there was a whole lot more in that raid than oil. They have not called Diddy a drug dealer yet.
We have two more updates from the Washington Post, one from 19 minutes ago, Anne Brannigan. Brian Steele has begun his cross-examination of Mia, a former assistant to Diddy who claims he has assaulted her on multiple occasions. Steele began by asking Mia, who is testifying under a pseudonym, about where she went to college, James Madison University, when she graduated, it was 2005, and what her GPA was. But the prosecution objected, and the judge was like, what does that have to do with anything? We're not going to get into GPAs. I wanted to be in the entertainment industry.
When I graduated from my undergraduate program, my GPA was 1.5. And the fuck? What does it matter?
Pointed questions, like whether she was a leader or whether she could speak up for herself. She's getting visibly uncomfortable. She's reading from a resume that portrays her as a strong person while describing a job that demanded subservience. And you have thick skin, Steele said, reading off a resume from nearly 20 years ago. She said, I thought I did.
Excuse me. Keep in mind, Diddy is directing the defense, okay? He has requested that they're able to visit him at the jail until 9 p.m. He has had the judge call the jail to ask for an extension of his video time until 9 p.m. He's writing notes during the trial. This is a Diddy production, just like the Freak-Offs. So a lot of these dumbass questions and this misdirection is from him. Okay, because they work for him. His attorneys, just like my attorneys and your attorneys, work for him. They don't just get up and say what they want to say or do what they want to do. He pays them. And why do you think so many of them have quit? Because he's abusive. Allegedly.
Okay, they're back from the sidebar.
Those freak-offs are gross, I'm sure.
Okay, so now Brian Steele, he says, what about May 14th, 2020? Who's Dre? Okay, hold on. What's this? Okay. Now, May 14th, 2020, you texted Mr. Combs. What did you say? Mia said, I said my heart is broken about Dre. In my spirituality, I know that when people are done with the physical world, it's that they have completed their mission. I love you. Brian Steele said, what's this about? Mia said, he auditioned for the James Brown part that Chad Boseman got. I told Puff I would email him videos of his audition. I don't know who's he. Maybe like Diddy audition for the James Brown part.
I thought I heard something about that.
You carried around a video camera? Mia said, yeah, he required me to do it. Before iPhone, I was required to carry around a video camera. So that's a big point for the prosecution, right? Like people being required to carry around video cameras. Oh, nice. So you were required to carry around a video camera, Brian Steele says. Do you have any footage of Diddy beating you? Since you were so good at carrying around cameras?
That's a stupid question.
The prosecution was like, objection, Your Honor. This is argument or whatever she objected for. The judge said, no, I'm going to let that come through. She said, no, Brian. I don't have any footage of Diddy beating me because I wouldn't have been allowed to record that.
Okay.
Do you have anything about Diddy berating you? She said no, because that would have violated the confidentiality agreement that I signed. And you know these people hold those NDAs over these people's heads. Okay. Brian Steele says, but you don't have any text messages? She said, yeah, they should be one-on-one direct. Showing what, Mia? Mia said, Puff saying F it, let's go to war, all that stuff. Brian Steele said, oh, okay, so all that, I mean, that's pretty bad. But you don't have anything else? She's like, I mean, only reaching out to other people in the office, things other people had seen. What did you write here? I wrote, we had so many funny memories. OMG. Brian Steele said, okay, so anything in your phone about being brutalized by Mr. Combs?
Keep in mind, P. Diddy paid
She
for
said,
her phone.
I don't think so.
He paid for her phone.
Okay, so how are we supposed to find out whether you were brutalized? Which, I mean, it's obvious. Like, she's going to testify about it. She has circumstantial evidence, et cetera, other people, et cetera, et cetera. But the prosecutor's like, objection. And the judge finally is like, yeah, what? What do you mean? How are we supposed to find out about it? That's the whole point of court, stupid. Okay, so let's go to CNN. NBC has 2 new updates. Two minutes ago, Mia, this is Adam Rice and David K. Lee. The defense introduced a text message from Mia to Diddy. The title is Mia Nightmare, Trapped in Elevator with R. Kelly. The defense introduced a text message from Mia to Diddy, in which she told Diddy that he once, in a nightmare, saved her from R. Kelly. She said January 15th, 2019, there was a text message. She had a terrible dream being trapped in an elevator with convicted criminal R. Kelly, but then Diddy came to rescue her. The judge sustained the government objection, preventing Mia from answering why her alleged attacker was framed as a savior in her dream. However, the defense still made its point to the jurors that despite the allegations Mia has made against Diddy, there were times when she did hold him in high esteem. 2 minutes ago, Adam Rice and Doha Madani from NBC News. The title is Mia reached out to Diddy because she felt bad about Kim Porter's death. When questioned about apparently loving texts Mia sent to Diddy in late 2018, early 2019, she testified that she felt bad for Diddy after the death of Kim Porter. Kim Porter, who was with Diddy for years and the mother of his children, died in November 2018 from pneumonia.
You're right.
Diddy's defense showed texts following that time where Mia wrote that she loved Diddy and dreamed of him as her savior. This was months after Kim Porter's death. Mia told the court she didn't think 5 months was a long time to recover from grief, and she hadn't yet understood what happened to her while working for Combs. She noted that there was a version of Diddy who did care for her, but he had all his altars all split out.
Well, he turned it on and off based on his needs. He was a transactional
Mia,
worker.
next question. Didn't you have time away from Diddy to write, today he sexually assaulted me? She said, no, I did not have time. And I would not have written that. Okay, so August 29th, 2020, he wrote to you, glad you're well. Love, please send me the footage for the doc. So he reached out to her. He reached out to her in 2020, asking for footage for a documentary that he was apparently making.
She's scratching her nose, yeah. That's what she's doing.
And remember, this Mia is the one that did the film project with him. Next question. Did he let you go from your employment? Didn't he? Mia said, yeah, I don't know why. It was confusing. I was called back eventually. Okay, but here it says he'll only remember the good times. Mia said, yeah, that's what it says right there.
She got me scratching my eyes.
Five minutes ago, Anne Brannigan, Washington Post. Mia says, Combs was my tormentor and protector. Former Diddy employee Mia is now being asked to review text messages she sent to her ex-boss in 2018. She's alleged that Diddy assaulted her, and she read aloud from a 2018 text wishing him a Merry Christmas. I love you, she wrote, so much. Mia left Diddy's company in March 2017. Defense attorney Brian Steele then asked about another text she sent in which she said she had a nightmare about R. Kelly. I screamed for you, she wrote, and you came to rescue me. Brian Steele, as he did Friday, questioned why Mia would speak this way to a man she alleges sexually assaulted her. She said at the time she was still psychologically in thrall to Combs, and that even though Combs was her tormentor, he also was for years a sort of protector.
Now, the prosecution has been pressuring
the
judge to put a time limit on how long the defense can actually cross-examine a witness, because this is the kind of shit that's going on. It's just around and around the mulberry bush type shit.
Brian Steele asked Mia if she had any videos of Diddy berating her on any of her cameras in a moment of rage. She said, absolutely not. I would not have been allowed to film that. I was filming whatever he wanted me to film. Filming Diddy in a moment of rage would have been a huge break of trust, loyalty, and confidentiality. Actually, that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. You got to
That
film your
tracks.
boss at their worst moments using their equipment?
Okay. So the time is 2020, Brian Steele says. The Me Too movement has been going strong for 2 years, you could say. Remember the bad times, right? She said, I would never have said that. Brian Steele said, because it's not true.
Brian.
Objection, Your Honor, overruled. Steele said, you wrote what? She said, love you too.
He's got a desperate defense.
She said, I wrote so many crazy things, like Mick Jagger trying to take me home, and that Baccarat game, my pink bedazzled iPhone. There's trillions of stories. Of course I'll send to you. I was bamboozled by Heather. Remember the scrapbook I made you? I got you. Okay, Mick Jagger. That's Rolling Stone. Okay, never mind. Okay, so she had all this footage. So this is a text message she apparently wrote. So many crazy things. Mick Jagger trying to take me home, the Baccarat game, my pink bedazzled iPhone. There's trillions of stories. Of course I'll send to you. I was bamboozled by Heather. Remember the scrapbook I made you? I got you. I don't know what the context of that is.
I think she was trying to prove her loyalty. I agree. But you got to think about something.
Thank you to Mitzi for the $4.99.
Not to defend them, but a lot of the people, if you look at all the people who have worked for P. Diddy, they've all said, I didn't really have nothing going on besides this. My mother died because she was a crackhead. My father was abusive. Like, there's these different elements of neediness and lack of self-worth and lack of self-love. A lot of times, like how the church attracts people who are, we want the hurting. Of course you want the hurting so that they can work their worth for God and find out, try to prove that they're worthy to God by serving the church. And a lot of times Diddy really honestly did attract people who had no love for themselves, so that he could abuse them. He did. He sought out vulnerable people. A lot of our organizations we work for,
It's slow-mo by the mods. Target in real life have to have a large platform.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Carrie, for the $5 super chat. Shout out to Nicole. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. My cousin Nicole. People inside said they are swaying. The jury is swaying with Steele's questioning. Is slow mode by the mods targeted? No, slow mode is for everybody, Nicole. It's just because when we get a whole lot of new people in here, sometimes it's bots. So if it's like a bot in here spamming, it'll just let it go. I don't put the slow mode on. The mods do that. I leave that to them to use up to their discretion, their discernment. If y'all appreciate what the mods are doing, all their most of their links are in the chat below. There's a couple more I'm waiting to get back. But if y'all want to support the mods, the links are in the description box. So is Inner City Press's link in the description box below. Thanks so much for the $5, Nicole. In real life, I have to have a large platform.
It's 11/11 here in South Korea. Shout outs to 11/11. This testimony is blowing me. I mean, I'm trying to stay up with y'all, but goddamn, this is some bullshit. I need them to either get into the game defense or change witnesses because, Lord, this feels like a waste of time. Lisa, you are appreciated. All of you are appreciated. Thank you guys for being here.
I understand you.
Because if y'all wasn't here, I probably would just put this on silent and get in bed for a little bit. And then when I got real sleepy, I put on a subliminal something to help me manifest something.
Bamboozled by Heather.
Who is Heather?
She said, because I was brainwashed. Brian Steele said, by who?
This was a cult.
Mia said, by Puff.
Yeah.
How did he bamboozle you with a part of his body without your consent? Objection, Your Honor, says the prosecutor. And the judge is like, yeah, what the hell are you doing, Brian? Please, no, you can't ask that.
He's the last person that should be cross-examining her.
New update from CNN.
He is ridiculous.
Less than a minute ago, CNN.com former assistant testifies that she didn't tell anyone about abuse from Diddy at the time.
Right,
Brian Steele asked Mia if she told anyone about the abuse she claims she endured from Diddy while it was happening. Do you have anything where you contemporaneously wrote to a friend, a family member, a police officer, anybody, anything that said what was going on? I'm being assaulted, berated, anything? She said no. The only time I reached out for help was very subtly to people in the office, but not disclosing things that other people hadn't witnessed. I would never do that. And again, y'all remember, she wasn't even going to report this to the police, and she never did. She said she wanted to take this to her grave. She had no desire to talk about this. She didn't want to talk about this. She didn't want to go to court over this. She's testifying under a pseudonym. She said, I would have never told anyone about this stuff. Even whenever we had our financial settlement for my overtime pay and my overages and my all of that, I didn't even bring it up to my lawyer that he did this SUL stuff. And I didn't want to. I didn't tell anybody because that was my point. I didn't want to.
She wanted it to go away.
Brian Steele went on to ask Mia if the text messages shown today, including instances where she sent him holiday greetings and said, love you, demonstrate, quote, almost a loving relationship between Mia and Combs. She said, I am sending him support and love. Yes. And this isn't the only person we saw doing this, right? I mean, I think 2 of the other former assistants sent him support and love. 4 minutes ago, NBC News, Mia never recorded Diddy during an outburst. Despite her near constant contact with Diddy while she worked for him, she admits she doesn't have any video of the music mogul during a fit of rage. She also conceded she doesn't have text messages to friends to note any violent outbursts by Diddy. She testified that she wouldn't have made such documentation because to do so would have broken trust and confidentiality between her and her employer at the time. Brian Steele says, what does brainwashing mean, Mia? She said, I don't know. The highs are really high. The lows are really low. I was punished when Puff was violent. He made me believe that I did something wrong. He was praised by the public. She previously testified nobody ever even so much as flinched when he was doing this stuff.
Right.
So, I mean, it was like I was gaslit. I was told, that.
And remember, they had this whole structure. Uncle Paulie, Uncle Tony, Brother D-Rock. Like, everybody was a family. This was a cult. We really got to get into, like, Ye's Sunday service group, because that was a cult, too, if you ask me.
Okay.
They're going to have to get this train going.
But asking, like, her what brainwashing means is kind of silly. Like, I don't know. Ask a freaking expert. Next question. So you were aware of the Me Too movement, but no outcry of you? Why? Mia said, he said he was going to tell Cassie what happened, and Cassie was my friend. I internalized the blame and the shame. Who threatened you to tell Cassie about Diddy supposedly sexually assaulting you? Diddy! Puff! Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs. Do you need a brain scan, Brian?
Yeah, apparently.
I said this many times. Diddy said, I'm going to tell Cassie everything. I knew it was a SA, but I didn't know if Cassie was.
And he was going to make it to Cassie like she was trying to fuck him. Blah, blah, blah.
To like abuse her on the stand and just get her riled up and shake her and make her look like crazy or unhinged or something. And I hope it doesn't work. But this is why you pay these lawyers so freaking much money. Because Brian Steele is obviously willing to lie in court under, penalty of professional consequences. He said a video that was 30 seconds long is 8 seconds long. So either he can't count or he's a liar. I know y'all like him, but anybody that could lie in court or anybody that could be that stupid and get 30 seconds mixed up with 8 seconds whenever it's like a video that's already like suspiciously like not handed over in the right amount of time with the right amount of notice. I'm just suspicious of the ethics and the morals of that person.
Right.
I know y'all like him, but you could like somebody ain't got no morals. You could like a liar.
I think it's extremely irresponsible for the defense team to have a man, especially when it's this brash, cross-examine a rape victim. It should have been a woman.
Okay.
This is crazy. Come on, Espresso. Keep us in the game.
4 minutes ago, Wesley Parnell from the Washington Post said, Mia, who was Diddy's former assistant, testified that he would often make her follow him around and write down the funny things he said in her notes app. Quote, did you ever produce any random notes that showed Diddy was anything but professional with you? Do you have any notes that Diddy was violent toward you? And she was like, no. And then Steele's like, because it's not true, is it?
No, because
she said, I will not lie.
You're talking about the person who owned her phone. He owned her phone. He had access to her iCloud account. He most likely put her up in her apartment, too.
Parnell, 1 minute ago, Washington Post, defense attorney Brian Steele's line of questioning is exhaustively granular. He's picking out positive interactions between Diddy and his former employee, Mia, who's testifying under a pseudonym, and asking her to explain how a tormented victim could also be so affectionate. She has now read out more than 50 text messages between the pair over 2 days of testimony. This morning, the prosecution pointed out that Steele has submitted nearly 30 additional exhibits.
See?
This was the same line of questioning he followed Friday.
Same shit.
And he's apparently going to do it all morning. 2 minutes ago, we get another update from NBC News. This is Adam Rice and Doha Madani. The defense tries to undermine sexual assault allegations, but Mia says she was brainwashed.
She was.
Defense attorney Brian Steele pushed Mia about her testimony last week, where she said Diddy sexually assaulted her, asking point blank whether the assault testimony was true. I would not lie in this courtroom. I never lied in this courtroom. Everything I have said is true. Brian Steele had shown the court multiple messages from Mia to Diddy between 2018 and 2020, after she stopped working for Diddy, where she expressed love and good memories. In one message from August 2020, she wrote that the only things to remember were the good times. Mia told the court that Diddy had brainwashed her. She testified that the environment she was in was filled with high highs and very low lows.
Think about this.
She testified that she was always seeking.
So I often run into this struggle because I'm a Black American. And when I live internationally, people automatically, for some reason, confuse me with an African. And they have a completely different demeanor. Africans are very subservient. Africans are very, I guess you would use the word humble in the face of disrespect. Well, I'm a dignified Negro. So oftentimes they think I've undergone the same brainwashing. And it can be difficult. I read my contracts. I live by my contracts. And I don't care what the problem is, I'm going back to my contract, especially if it's in favor of me. And so when you think about it, a lot of people, a lot of corporations, organizations, and people look to surround themselves with yes people. Okay? And you got to think about something. This woman went to this man's interview at his house, and he was in his drawers. Okay? Think about all the things this man has put his employees through, but think about the fact, too, that it blows people's mind when they find out I'm not a poor person. Just because I work and live overseas as a teacher doesn't mean I don't have any source of income outside of what I do for a living. Doesn't mean that I'm desperate. And so a lot of people that he surrounded himself with were desperate people. They didn't have anything else going on. They weren't fielding opportunities from a million other places. So oftentimes the vibe and the attitude that I come with is a much more elevated vibe. I have a lot more self-worth, and I run into a lot of issues where I have to be like, no, we're not doing that. No, you're not going to take advantage of me. No, I'm not going to work outside of my contract. No, I'm not desperate. No, I'm not scared to get fired. Because I know who I am. And you got to understand the kind of people that Puff Daddy and a lot of these people have surrounded themselves with. He's taken them places they've never been before. Istanbul, Turks and Caicos, all kinds of places. So, like she said, the highs were very high. He's got these people thinking he's providing a life for them they can't get nowhere else. She could work at Walmart probably and have more joy, though, truth be told.
Next question. Why didn't you respond? Great, let's tell everyone what you did to me, right? Whenever Diddy said, I'm going to tell Cassie. Why didn't you say, good, you should tell her, because then I'm going to tell her what happened, what you did to me? Objection, Your Honor. Please, this has been going on for 2 days. The judge said, okay, seriously, can we move on, Brian? Can we get to a different point?
Think about this. Cassie knew Diddy had other bitches, and she never left. Well, she tried to leave, and he tried to kill her. So, okay, so he tells her that he raped his assistant. Now what? She wouldn't tell the police what he was doing to her. So now what? This girl was backed into a corner in many, many ways.
Able to speak up. Okay, when did you first say me too?
Right. Exactly.
Mia said the first time I said me too was the first time I saw Diddy being held responsible. Mm-hmm. Now I have therapy.
Look how many people...
Brian Steele said, okay, Diddy wrote, I got to find that. You got a copy. What does it refer to? She said, I think he means the James Brown video. Steele said, no, he's talking about the scrapbook. And now that scrapbook is being used against Mia in court. The scrapbook that she so painstakingly put together for him in a moment of love. Now it's being turned back on her.
People do that shit all the time.
Mia said, I think I have PDFs. I think I gave it to you for a birthday in your house on Mapleton. This is the LA house. I customized that purple leather suit so you could walk, not giving an F. If y'all can't find it, I will, but I didn't. So Brian Steele said,
I won't get into correcting you about who Lucifer really is. That's my nigga. That's my homie. you know, the agreements that we make are for him to tell me how to solve problems without having to bust a bitch upside the head. You ain't never heard of Lucifer having to get into a fight to solve a problem. I won't get into none of that. I will go with what you're saying, chat lives matter, because I realize that the widespread perception is that the devil is an enemy. But in all actuality, he's not.
Heart emoji.
I do
And
know
then
what you
Brian
mean.
Steele's
I
like,
know
oh, I'm so
exactly
sorry.
what
Deepest
you mean.
sympathy. Deepest sympathy for your grandmother.
I know. I'm gonna go with your analogy because I feel where you're going. I think we should probably use the analogy of Jesus, a nigga people die for who we can't prove ever existed.
2 minutes ago, quote,
But I'm with you.
nobody around batted an eye
They won't.
when Diddy misbehaved,
They won't.
former assistant said. She said nobody around batted an eye when Diddy misbehaved. He was still praised by everyone in his circle and in public. Quote, I was always constantly seeking his approval. He was my authority figure, my only authority figure. And, you know, we do know Diddy, according to testimony, likes to have people call him daddy and pop and all of that. Puff daddy, P daddy, and all of that.
Right.
PP daddy, I heard.
Pop. I mean, how many people have a pastor who gets caught up in some mess and they be like, well, only God could judge. We're going to let God handle the man of God. And they put all these other boundaries around that person being held accountable. Brainwashing is a real thing. We all work in corporations where we be like, the manager is most likely doing something they're not supposed to do. And you don't say nothing. Nobody says anything because everybody wants to keep their job. I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir. I'm speaking for Mia because it's so frustrating to watch her get badgered in court and know that pastors, aunties, cousins, mamas, how many mamas say, do as I say, not as I do? I mean, for all we know, this girl was raised in a family where she was abused. And she experienced that psychological abuse. There are men that get around me and get uncomfortable. I've known of men who were pimps that would never let me have a private conversation with their hoes. Because soon as I do, she going to be working at McDonald's. She going to be working at somewhere, doing something, making money. She going to be selling pussy, keeping the money for herself, okay? Because I'm just that type of person. I'm an independently minded person. I'm willing to do without rather than be subjugated. And so you got to understand, I don't mean to be condescending. I know I'm preaching to the choir. But we have to understand, the jury needs to understand, hopefully the jury understands that this woman came from nothing, basically. She basically, I mean, she didn't really have a big background to speak of. And a lot of these people were so addicted. Capricorn Clark is one of them. She said she couldn't find a job for years between Diddy's. Well, the truth of the matter is she never went and put an application in at the Lay's factory. She wasn't about to go and try to sell cars for Hyundai. Like, she wasn't a regular life. She came to court in a tailored suit in a midriff. She was addicted to the fame. Still is, most likely. Addicted to that famous lifestyle. And bitches and niggas that can't be famous, the best they can be is close to the famous person. Close to the famous person. So you don't know how many times Mia had bragged to her friends that she worked for P. Diddy. She wasn't going to go back to them and tell them that that was a mistake and that this nigga wasn't shit. Shit. You don't know what kind of perks he got her. Concert tickets, entrance into clubs. We done already talked about all the trips. But these people, a lot of people don't know how to detach from the blessings and see things for what they really are. And that's why you got people that will marry their rapist. I mean, look at T.D. Jake's wife. Serena knows she married to a man who loves being swallowed up. But not by her. They know who they married to. But it's that lifestyle. They get addicted to that lifestyle and the association to famous people. It's too bad, man. Swallowed.
Thanks so much, Carrie Lee. By the way, love your objections. Yeah, I'm trying, cousin. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Thank you, Beana Baby. for the $4.99. It's not uncommon for trauma victims to pretend nothing happened and go out of their way to be kind to their abuser. Defense is it's a defense mechanism created out of fear. Okay, thank you for that insight. That does definitely.
For myself, I was in a relationship with somebody for about 7 years, from the time I was 19 until I was 26. And when I finally stopped wondering if he was ever going to treat me right, I was good. But for 7 years, I wondered, wait, somebody got my name up there. Have you seen a 10-minute video of you covering this on the channel DELACREMEDELA? Shout out to DELACREMEDELA. Let me see what she says.
I don't really have time to be watching too much videos.
I know, that's right. But shout outs to BJ at the That Surprise Witness. Thank you for whoever mentioned my name. Thank you. Hopefully you weren't trying to be messy, because I use everything according to fair use. But I have been on that, in the comments of that channel, supporting her. I'm a huge fan of what she's doing. That's why I brought it to you guys. Because if I wasn't watching this with you, I'd be watching it anyway. And I'd be in her comments giving my hot take too. So, thank you for whoever mentioned my name. That's really good. But yeah, I just think it's important for I hope the jury. I know there's 2 black women on the jury, but a lot of times black women are the worst. You know, the ride or dies, the ones that will put. I'll never forget. I'm gonna share with y'all a personal story, like I don't ever do that. Right after my dad passed away, literally, excuse me. No, he was still dying. It took about 3 days for my dad to pass away. And while my dad was dying, my mom said, "What am I going to do? Nobody could ever love me like him." And I said, "What is wrong with you?" I said, "What are you going to do? You're going to do the same shit you've been doing for 40 years, putting it in his name. You're going to do the same shit you've been doing for 40 years, giving him all the credit for it. And if you mean to tell me that nobody could ever love you any better than him, do you really think you're that worthless? Because truth be told, he didn't love you right. I had to tell my mama this over my daddy's body. Like literally snap the fuck out of it. And it wasn't until my mom was making decisions and doing stuff without my dad that she realized she had been carrying it for 40 years, giving him all the credit. Because, you know, the man is the head of the household. No. Whoever paid the bills is the head of the household. Okay? Let's be clear. A lot of times, black women be the ride or motherfucking dies that'll stay in a relationship for 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years because they got them abusive mamas and they scared to be without somebody. When my mama finally realized, it must have been about 5 years after my dad passed away, when my mom finally realized that she could have lived without him a long fucking time ago. When I had my baby out of wedlock and my mother saw me raise my child successfully, like y'all see me do, take her on trips and raise her well, because we some money making bitches, okay? I come from a long line of money making bitches. Okay? When my mom saw that I was able to raise my daughter and she was able to have a great education and a great life and travel well and live well without a man, it was like a paradigm shift. It was almost like my mother wished she could have took back the last 25, 30 years, 40 years of her life. The first time she wanted to leave. Because my father had my mom convinced, like they literally got into an argument about a year and a half before he died. He was 69 years old. And my daddy talking about he gonna leave. And he came back and told my mama, "I'm not gonna leave because you can't live without me." I said, I would have smacked the fire out of that nigga. My daddy, my father, I would have smacked the fire out of him. And that was part of the gripe my dad and I had. Because he didn't have that kind of hold on me. But he had it on my mama. So I've seen these relationships. I've seen, and I hope that the black women on this jury are free from that type of bullshit, and they're able to see through why this woman was still sending him, and they weren't even in a romantic relationship, but why she was still sending him notes of affection and doing things for him and working for him, because he had her mind. You got to understand what these people have gone through. They've gone through 5-day lie detector tests, and not. I think one of the women said, Capricorn Clark said, he had her work for 5 days straight with no sleep. I mean, he had the. If he didn't have her mind first, he had it at some point. He had conditioned her, and she thought the nigga that called her D-Rock, she thought that was her brother. He manipulated her so good, he had her in a chokehold. He started a conversation with her talking about, oh, me and my wife started a restaurant in the Poconos. She never thought to ask, well, where'd you get the money? Where'd you get the money? Because none of us got paid that well. So where'd you get the money? Conversation continues. You know, she's sharing all her business. He finally tell her he's still working for Puff. He had all them niggas in the chokehold. So, like, I'm hoping the people on the jury are able to see through this. Like, I'm really, really hoping. Ooh. This is some dramatic shit. I want to choke Brian Steele.
For the third, fourth time, trying to get in this birthday video that was mysteriously released by a random website. A private video, a private happy birthday video that was randomly somehow released right the day before Brian Steele needed to use it in court. Anyway, my hometown, she says, of Virginia Beach doesn't usually get this type of attention. So you're telling the jury you were scared of Mr. Combs. Isn't that true? She said, I was. When he was acting crazy, yes, I was scared of him. Okay, listen to 1750. Tell me if you recognize it. Then Brian Steele says, I move to admit this video. It looks like it's two of them.
Brian Steele.
1750 and 1750R.
I wonder if that's his real name.
The judge said, the prosecutor said, we object. We object to this. The proper basis for admission has not been established. So previously, the judge had said, if the witness, if Mia, claims she doesn't remember making the video, or that she didn't make the video. The judge said Brian Steele can ask, did you make this video? And she could answer. If she answers no, then maybe it could be admitted for impeachment. But if she answered, yes, I remember making this video, then Brian Steele can't get the video in. So that was the last word that I heard about it from the judge. And the assistant U.S. attorney, the prosecutors, the feds are saying, Your Honor, he didn't meet the threshold. He just keeps trying to ram this video down everybody's throat. And what's the point of a rule of evidence? Right. The judge said, okay, yeah, true. Come back up here, Brian. Let's have a sidebar.
They're about to have a morning break in a minute, I guarantee you. Hey, Rosanna, welcome in. Good to see you, OG. Girl, I hope you've been keeping up with this shit.
Just doing some AstroTurf management.
I'm about to take a pain pill. My back hurts.
I have to block these AstroTurf accounts. Thanks so much to the Roz Rodriguez. The vid mentioned is of you. Oh, interesting. Well, I'll have to go check that out. Thank you so much for letting me know, and for the $1.99 super chat. Thanks so much, Kel on Earth, for gifting 5 That Surprise Witness memberships. Shout out to you. Thank you, Christopher Jones, for the $4.99 super chat. Did I see the CEO of Rock Nation Marchman acted / put in a mental hospital for 2 weeks against her will, her own daughter, and she's suing her mom. And it was on the news yesterday. Yes, Christopher, the first, I don't know, what was it, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the video today, I actually read through some of that lawsuit. I got to read through more of the stuff. It looks like Rock Nation has already filed to dismiss the lawsuit. And also 2 judges have also been recused from this case already. And it just was filed less than a month ago. So just very interesting stuff going on here. Very interesting. Shout out to you. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Okay. So the judge is allowing it to be admitted. I was trying not to show the assistant publicly because that was what the court ruled. I didn't know that City Press was going to post this link. It is public. I'm personally going to try to not have the identity of the witness shown here.
I comply with that as well.
So it's public. I mean, I can't stop people from doing stuff, but on my platform, I'm not allowing it to be, you know, discussed and stuff because many reasons. So that being said, the judge is going to allow the jury to see the happy birthday video. Now, remember earlier they were trying to put this happy birthday video in because they thought she was lying. Like Mark Agnifilo was like, she's acting on the stand, like she's crying and stuff on the stand. She's just full of shit. She's just lying. I think that's a little bit harsh. Let me see. I'm just looking through the other sources.
I think part of the reason why they're going in so hard on her is because they can. I mean, the woman is using a pseudonym. Now, according to Armand Wiggins, he doesn't think she's anyone who's famous or a celebrity or anybody we would know. But see, we can't technically, she can't be defended by the public, so to speak. If they had went in on Cassie, the outcry of the public would have been crazy. That would have been the end of the defense's case. But because Mia is going by a pseudonym, nobody knows who she is. No sketch artists have been allowed to sketch during her testimony. People in the peanut gallery have been asked by the judge not to describe her or reveal her identity. It's let me see if I can put it in the right words. It's almost like the defense feels like they can bully her with impunity because there's no punishment. There's no, they won't lose anything. There's no bad press. There's no PR because she's an invisible person, so to speak. And it's really disgusting, if you ask me.
While working tirelessly to make America great again, there is no room for distraction. He would consider pardoning anyone who is being mistreated. Not Puff Daddy. So they're saying Puff Daddy's not, he's saying Puff Daddy is not being mistreated. I mean, I don't know. I'm almost hoping if anybody gets anything, I hope it's Lou Taylor. You know, can we hold out hope that she gets?
She's going to have to come up on the chopping block. But, you know.
Okay, the judge has decided now to take a 10-minute bathroom break. Okay.
I don't understand what a happy birthday video. I mean,
let me see if there's any other sources.
An abusive relationship understands very well what's happened here.
That have started. Because earlier some of the sources weren't starting to tweet yet. Like here I have the New York Post up.
They are. I mean, it's almost like, I'm going to even go so far as to say, even the name she chose, Mia, missing in action. It's almost like it makes me want to cry because it's like they're in a dark room with her and they're just beating her up and nobody knows who she is, so she can't be defended. Nobody can see her, nobody can hear her. She's almost to them like not even a real person. They would have went in on Cassie like this, but you can't because Cassie is loved by the public. So they would have suffered some in the press. They would have suffered some bad press if they had done that. It really, really, really would have made them look bad. Plus, she was 8 months pregnant and days from giving birth. I think she's had her baby by now. But it's almost like they just got her in a dark room and they just beating her up because they can. It's really gross. It really is.
June 2008 through July 2009.
And I'm sure this is at Diddy's.
Kept inventory, personal possessions, documentation, passports, driver's licenses, birth certificates, family certificates, memorabilia, awards, promotional items, supervised other assistants, and managed interviewing.
You gotta remember, Diddy is the black king. Diddy is the black god. Diddy's done all these videos talking about, I mean, he called the companies he was working with racist. So, like, Trump ain't gonna protect him. What Kanye West say? Trump don't give a damn about black people. Not like that. Not these black people.
She was psychologically trapped by Diddy. The former employee testified she was psychologically trapped by Diddy. His lawyer showed the jury a text message from March 2019. So this is like 2 years after she stopped working for him.
Hey, Tracy.
In the text, Mia expressed her love for Diddy. Brian Steele, Diddy's attorney, said Mia was not under the trap of Combs at this time, since she had stopped working for Diddy in 2017. But she claimed psychologically she still was. She explained Diddy's ex, Kim Porter, had just passed away and she felt horrible for him. Brian Steele asked Mia to explain why she was reaching out, and she said 5 months is not that long after a tragedy. She claimed the version of Diddy that treated her like a best friend protected her from other versions of him. He got all the demons. He's got a legion living up in there. Infested. Mia also said she didn't understand what was happening with herself until recently. She started going to therapy, etc., etc. 6 minutes ago, Diddy's ex-assistant pushes back against Brian Steele and says, I never lied in this court. When Diddy's team continued to show the jury texts from Mia to Diddy, one from Mia from August 2020 was about life being crazy. Brian Steele, Diddy's attorney, asked Mia if she had any notes on her phone about Diddy not being that showed Diddy not being professional. She said she doesn't know, but she doesn't think so. Then Brian Steele asked if Mia had time away from Diddy to write a note about the rapper allegedly sexually assaulting her, and she said no. And yet another text.
You remember when, I want to say it was Capricorn Jones, Capricorn Clark, who said she was responsible for taking Pharrell Williams from the island to another place. And she decided to hang out with Pharrell for an hour. And Diddy called her and was like, oh, you think you gonna have a life? You don't have no life. You work for me. So when was she supposed to have time to write notes on the phone P. Diddy paid for? I mean, my colleague and I, one of my colleagues and I have decided not to share our daily notes on what we're experiencing at work in a particular app, because we use that same app on our work computers, and should our bosses ever decide to take our computers, they would be able to see everything we've written. So, I mean, duh. I mean, he probably controlled her iCloud account.
Steele asked if all the texts are positive.
And that's the same Diddy who would just ask you, can I borrow your phone? I need to make a phone call. And then he'd run off with it. Remember? That man is nuts. The children. What about the children? Remember when we were children?
We have another update from NBC. 1 minute ago, this is Adam Rice, Ying Fang, and Doha Madani. Mia is still getting pushed by the defense for years of friendly communications with Diddy, despite her testimony that she feared him. In another text from Mia, this time from December 2022, in which she wishes Combs a happy...
Is this not proof that she feared him? I mean, I remember many times where if I didn't call one of my parents for their birthday because they were abusive, the other one would call me. How come you didn't call your mama? How come you didn't call your daddy? And I'd be like, 'cause I don't fuck with them. Oh, no, that's your parents. You gotta call them. I mean, I know what an abusive relationship is like. You're forced to have a good relationship with this person despite the way they make you feel. That's just what it is. And if anything, I honestly do believe that the fact that she would say happy birthday or any of that stuff is further proof of the abuse that she experienced. Because she's acting like an abuse victim.
Back in, this is like 12 years ago, 2013, she's sitting at a desk in the video, tells Diddy she was blessed to call him a friend and thanked him for being one of the biggest inspirations in her life. I love you. Happy birthday, she said in the video, blowing a kiss. Defense attorney Alexandra Shapiro said Monday morning that the video supports the defense team's argument that Mia is presenting a false persona. So if Mia acted like something 12 years ago in a birthday video, then she must be lying.
I'm going to tell you why I don't think that the jury is aware of Puff's demands, because these conversations I'm speaking of happen before the jury is brought into the room. Before every single day, there's these meetings that happen in open court where the defense is like, can we get more phone time, because Diddy said he want to be able to talk to us until 9 o'clock. And this isn't a man who has leadership training or a diplomatic personality. So you know when he's talking to them, he's berating them, he's being abusive. Oh, I don't even know why the fuck I hired y'all. Y'all ain't shit. Y'all just gonna let my ex get on the stand and say whatever? No, I'm paying y'all all this money. I expect, and he probably keeps them in person or virtually for hours. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. Thank you for the link, Rosetta. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Man, this is nuts.
5 minutes ago, Anne Brannigan, Washington Post. Mia, on the other hand, has mostly kept her head down as she answers defense attorney Brian Steele's questions about her relationship to her former boss after she left his company. The former Sean Combs assistant, who is testifying under a pseudonym, is wearing a beige blazer and pants with a white blouse. Okay.
I remember, I can tell you many companies I worked for. I worked for one company where they made us wear pins. As part of our uniform, we had to wear a pin that said they were voted best place to work in 2015. And this was in 2023. They hadn't been the best place to work in almost 10 years, but they wanted us to believe it. And they made sure we told other people they were the best place to work. There is a certain amount of psychological abuse that goes with working with these kinds of organizations. And that's where the RICO comes in.
Blame and shame. She said, quote, nobody acted like what was happening to me was wrong. And his threats about that, he was going to tell Cassie about what happened, made me internalize the blame and the shame as if she had done something wrong. Because
listen, an abusive nigga will convince you that he raped you because you wore a skirt that was too short. How many times in the 90s did they have to start telling women, you can say no at any point during a sexual interaction? Did you know that? Just because you started the sexual interaction doesn't mean you have to allow it to continue. You can say no. Consent is flexible. You got it, Tracy. Thank you for being here. How many times have they had to say, just because you're married to him does not mean he owns your pussy. You can still say no. Just because you guys are on a date does not mean that he has a right to your pussy. And if you fucking and he takes off the condom, at that point it is rape. I mean, women have had to be educated. Men have had to be educated about these things. For all you know, he convinced her that because they were at the house on his birthday and she was dressed a certain way and she made that video, oh man, you just made me want you. I couldn't say no. It's your fault. He threatened to tell Cassie. He didn't say he was going to tell Cassie he raped her friend. He threatened to tell Cassie like they had a relationship. Man, please. I had to go to therapy before I knew that I was in an abusive relationship with someone. For the longest, I thought it was my fault. Please. It's obvious to us, but hopefully the defense is not able to confuse the jury, who is mostly male, who may or may not have committed some of these acts as well.
Super chat. I did read her article, her piece called One Label Under Blackmail. And I think she has a co-author on that. But that was really enlightening and eye-opening. I mean, I need to read it all over again. It was so good.
What's it called?
Thanks so much for the $10 super chat. I'll have to check that video out. Thanks so much to Nana7 for the 10 Oilo. euros. I am a victim of DV and SA, and I do get it. That you go back. I went back to, you're doing a great job in Love from Europe. Thank you so much, Nana. And I am so sorry to hear that has happened to you. Thank you to Barbara for the €149 super sticker. Thanks to M for the $4.99 super chat. Why has the prosecution not asked any of the witnesses if they've been contacted by anyone from the defense? That's a good question. Maybe they did, actually. Because this lady said that she was contacted by somebody, D-Rock.
No, from the defense.
And he was like, why can't somebody give their little sister a gift? No, so maybe they are asking.
From the defense.
Shout out to you. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat.
Thank you so much, Rosetta. That's a different question, though. To ask Mia, had she been contacted from anyone from P. Diddy's camp, is different than asking her, has she been contacted by Brian Steele or anybody else who's on the actual legal defense team. That's different.
The law. So if somebody's cause of death is determined to be a SUI, for some freaking reason, all of a sudden, the autopsy reports are not public anymore. So simple way to just keep them private is to just make sure that it's ruled a SUI. But I did look into it. TMZ special about Justin Bieber had interesting things to say about Lou Taylor. There was a D-Rock in the chat that got booted. Thank God. Thank God. Get rid of them. Cindy Jones said there's many victims out there that never, ever leave their abuser. My mother was on one of those people.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I mean, you got, like, think about it for a second.
Let me go back to inner city presence.
When I found out, I'll be honest with you, when I found out my mom was passing away, because I had to cut her off because she was that abusive. And when I called her, she started manipulating me on the phone. And I apologized to her for not talking to her all that time, when it was for my own protection. And then she started getting all happy and giggly, and I had to take a step back from the conversation and call her back the next day and be like, wait a fucking minute. No, we will not. We will not. Not when I stepped away from my own healing because you were being abusive. Absolutely not. I take back my apology. As a matter of fact, I won't do anything to help you until you apologize to me. And I call me what you want, but I made my mother apologize to me and admit that she was narcissistic and admit that all the things that we went through and dealt with were at her own mental illness before I would even aid her while she was passing away. And when my mom passed away, we were good. But literally, I was not about to step back into because I let my dad verbally abuse me while he was dying. I did. I would let that man be on the phone with me and talk shit about me and talk shit to me and say all kind of crazy stuff about me because I never knew if that was the last time I was going to talk to him. But I was like, nope, we're not doing that. But there are some people, some of y'all, who got mamas and daddies you can't stand and still have birthday parties for them and still invite them to your kids' celebrations and tell them everything that's going on in your life because that abusive relationship has been you've been told, you've been made to prioritize it. You know, where would you be without me? You know? So, like, I totally understand what's happening here. Where is D-Rock? Where is D-Rock? When are we going to talk to D-Rock? Because if we don't talk to D-Rock, that means he's probably being charged. He's probably being charged. Because I think unless he talks, he's not a victim. But I do consider him to be a victim. Because from what Mia said, it didn't sound like he was too comfortable having that conversation with her. Like P. Diddy was standing right there while he was on the phone. And you know that wasn't his money he was going to send her. Just like that wasn't Cassie's money she paid Carrie Morgan. And that wasn't P. Diddy's money that was given to Capricorn Clark. That money came from Interscope, according to Suge Knight. Man, I tell you what, it takes... And you saw how how Justin Bieber looked when he was in the room with P. Diddy. Man, you not going to hang out with me no more? You've been dodging me. I called you. Yeah, I know you tried to call me, but you couldn't get my number. I mean, he was scared. He was afraid. I had to finally tell my parents, y'all can't cut me off and then pop up in my Facebook inbox like ain't nothing ever happened. Nope. Not until we have a real grown-up conversation. Nope. But there are people that stay in relationships with a man or a woman for decades. And it's abusive, and you know it, and you can't say nothing to them about it. You better not. They'll cut you off. Justin Bieber was scared to death. You saw how fabulous you... P. Diddy was in a room full of niggas who all giggle. I like it when you scrambling and scraping like that, daddy. These are niggas that write raps about being powerful and being shooters and being this and being that. Thank you, Lisa. But these niggas set up and tried to make light of it. Excuse me. Shout outs to Charlamagne for working for the feds enough to come out and put that shit out there. But even Usher sat there and let P. Diddy big him up in that red suit. He was looking like Darkwing Duck. He was about to go on stage. And P. Diddy basically saying you wouldn't be shit without me. But Usher said he don't go to bed one night without having a dream about Sean Combs. A nightmare. But he won't say nothing to us about it. Not for real. These people are abused. And that's why, again, I go back to our last episode when we talked about the whole industry. That's why it's so easy for this shit to be perpetuated over and over again. Because I literally do believe that Puffy was also sexually abused. Look at his mama. Look at his mama. See, my dad taught me, he said the best pussy is the pimp. And from what we understand, I've not been able to prove it, but from what we understand, his mother was a prostitute. So what happened when she was on her period or when she had an STD and she couldn't sell no pussy? You think she didn't put her son out there? I'm going to let you think about that. I'm going to let you think about that.
It getting released publicly so that they could just on the day before at 1 a.m. the night before they needed to use it at trial, it magically gets to their inbox. That's my opinion and belief. Y'all can make your own opinion and belief.
I mean, my own grandfather.
But they are back.
His bottom bitch was my grandma, his wife. His wife. And my aunt was one of his hoes. His daughter. And the only reason my mom didn't fall into that trap was because she was taken away and put in foster care. She was, but if my mother had been allowed to stay in that home long enough, she would have been a prostitute too. My mother has given me permission to tell you that she can remember times when she was a little girl laying in bed and my grandmother was sleeping with a trick. And my grandfather was in the next room. Now just imagine as my mother got older what that would have turned out to be. I do believe that, and that's where my compassion comes in. I do believe that P. Diddy was sexually abused. I do believe there was a Jimmy Iovine and a Clive Davis who was like, if you want these doors open, you're going to have to suck my dick. Because from what I understand, P. Diddy got a certain rush out of making really masculine men submit to him sexually. Why? Because most likely he experienced that same humiliation. Hey, what's up, Trevor? Good to see you. I'll be on the other side of the pond next weekend. I'll be in the UK next weekend. Hopefully we cross paths on Liverpool Street or something. At the Tottenham. Well, I finally realized how to pronounce the word. It's not Tottenham, it's Tottenham, right? At the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Hopefully we cross paths. I would love to see you. Absolutely. I will be in London next weekend for my daughter's birthday. We are spending the weekend with Beyonce and Peppa Pig. Okay? But yeah, I mean, I literally do, and there's something in the breakdown playlist right now and we might watch it. You know what? Let me make a note of that because we do need to watch that. Suge Knight talks about it a lot, about how the only way that Diddy is able to do what he does is because he was mentored. He was brought in. You know, we talk about how everything changed when Jimmy Iovine and Clive Davis became in power. The hip-hop game was completely different. Niggas didn't mind selling CDs out their trunk. But when Jimmy Iovine and his little fruity ass got in the game, excuse me, because there's nothing wrong with being gay, but there is something wrong with being abusive and using that as a way to break men. Oh, the Canary Islands. Okay. Well, good for you. Good for you. I heard you guys have some crazy storms that way. I don't know. Maybe I'm confusing you with somewhere else. But I've seen some cruise videos that go around about that way, and they always look like they have a life or death mission. I don't think it was willingly, though, Robin. Can I just argue with you for a second? I don't think he bent over willingly. I do honestly believe that at some point he realized this is what it was going to take for him to get what he... Okay, so you did have a storm last month. Okay. Yeah, so maybe that was you guys I see on those cruise videos where the water be splashing all the way up to the top of the windows on the 17th deck. Puff was with, I think Puff was first with Andre, and then him and Andre parted ways so he could start his own label. And Andre wasn't straight as an arrow, stiff as a board. You know, anybody who knows can see, if you have a drip of discernment, you can see that Andre wasn't straight. Let me get back to this testimony, see what we missing.
Which one he's talking about. We just had a stack of pictures. The judge said, Brian, why didn't you follow the judge's order and give them stamped copies of these? Brian Steele says, oh, sorry, I only got them this morning.
Yeah.
I'm so freaking sure. I don't believe him.
I agree with you.
Just like whenever he said the video that was 30 seconds long
was 8 seconds.
Was allegedly 8 seconds long. And he's shown himself willing to lie. Okay, hold on. Let me block an AstroTurf account.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I do believe he was abused by the tastemakers of the industry, by the gatekeepers, and he learned. I mean, let me just give you an example. So it must have been March when we were talking about Caleb Wilson. Rest in peace, Caleb Wilson, who was online to be an alpha and was murdered through the hazing process, punched in his chest multiple times by multiple men who were in his upline. These men had experienced these same abuses and called it tradition. This is how you got to get in. This is what has to happen if you want to be a part of this group. And you heard Puff tell Justin, he knows better than to say what Big Brother Puff does. I mean, Puff went to Howard. That's a black college. Isn't that? No, Morehouse is home of Alpha Phi Alpha. But you don't think he tried to be a bruh at Howard? You don't think he'd experience some of that? If you go to a black college, you know. You see it, you feel it. I never, ever went out for Zeta Phi Beta Sigma because they tried that shit while I wasn't even online. What the fuck I'm gonna join your organization for if you try to haze me and I haven't even signed up yet? You letting me know I don't want nothing to do with this shit. But that power, the need for power, becomes a very amazing thing for a person who's insecure. And he's not an attractive man. Puff Daddy know he ain't cute. He know ain't none of these people around him because he's attractive or smart. They're around him for what he has. They're around him for his money and his influence. So he's like, well, shit, you're not around me for the real me. Because none of these people can tell you about a real conversation they ever had with Puff Daddy. They can't tell you nothing about his favorite color. They can't tell you about what makes him smile. They can't tell you. And they were with him 24/7. Their only interest in being around him was who he was and what he could bring to their table. And he knew that. So he was like, if you're going to be around me, you're going to freak off. If you're going to be around me, I'm going to beat you. If you're going to be around me, you got to suck my dick. Robin, you said, true, I believe after that he had an extreme thirst for fame and was willing to sell his soul for it, and then decided to mark others to gain power over people. I mean, that's it. That's why we have so many horrible corporate leaders. Because they got a little bit of power, and they don't really understand that love is the highest power. So when they get a little taste of power, they get what we call power hungry. Thank you for mentioning that. This wasn't a man who'd ever built anything, really. So now he got people that want to be around him. Okay, what you gonna do to be around me? I mean, him and his mom have a from what looks like on the outside, a sexual relationship. You said your brother Ryan was offered a deal at Jive. He was 16, 17 years old. Your mama said, hell no. Absolutely. Absolutely. Shoot, I told y'all when I was a little girl, my mom and daddy used to take me to West Hollywood. They would show me what it really was. We're not going to let you be disillusioned. We're not going to let you be deceived. We're going to take you to West Hollywood. That's why I know wherever Kid Cudi lived, it might have been all right, but it wasn't. West Hollywood is West Hollywood, okay? West Hollywood is the New Jersey of California. 92, 93, that was right around the same time. Puff was coming up. And that's why Suge said if he gets on the stand and he speaks, he will walk. Because he gonna tell it. I hope he does testify in his own trial. I really do. I hope he has enough common sense to testify in his own trial.
To attack her on the sexual abuse allegations, which
Trevor,
I think is particularly disgusting and egregious, and I think Ryan Steele is proper.
When we get off of here, and if we have a break that I don't need to like make some coffee or something with, I want you just to take a look at our last episode of the breakdown, where we really talked about the entire entertainment industry and how Puff Daddy represents a culture. It's a culture. It's not, he's not an isolated incident. I mean, this goes all the way back. Look at Monty Python, you know, who put his hands down little girls' pants in the open at a doggone talk show. And people were so excited to be there that they would just let shit happen. Yep, R. Kelly was big, shoot, even before the 93, because 93 was when Aaliyah came out. And he had a name by then. Oh, Lord.
When this moral obligation came to her mind, and she said, well, it was when I started seeing him being held accountable for his actions. Mm-hmm. That's when she was told what he was doing was wrong, or that's when she started to realize it. Mia noted she is still untangling these things herself in therapy. Judge warns, this is less than a minute ago, CNN.com.
And see, the defense isn't going to tell the whole story because it really wouldn't work for them. But you got to remember, there's no HR for real in the music industry, in the entertainment industry. There is a culture of, you know, think about it. This woman is rubbing elbows with other women who are always pretty, always getting male attention. Just because she's just the personal assistant don't mean she don't want that attention. Doesn't mean she doesn't always want to be pretty too. So the culture of this industry is what makes it quote unquote normal, and what makes a person have to take 10 steps back and 10 years later to say, oh, I was raped.
An asshole, isn't it? And it's like, you're not going to be able to sustain, Your Honor. Now, I am being dramatic because Brian Steele notoriously refuses to curse. Like, even if he's reading an exhibit with a curse word, he won't say it. So I am being sarcastic. He didn't. It's not an actual quote. I was just trying to give y'all an example of, like, there's certain things that lawyers ask where it's like, you freaking no, that's going to be objection. That's going to be sustained. But you just ask it anyway, just to get your point across. That's not proper. You're not allowed to keep doing that. You're not allowed to keep doing that. If you do that, you can get admonished. You can get in trouble with the judge. Let's go to Inner City Press. Let me just refresh. Shout out to the mods in the chat. I did link their links below if y'all want to donate to the mods coffee fund, buy them a coffee or something. I personally know that I did. I'm still waiting for a couple other links for some of the other mods, but some are already linked down there. Okay, next question. Okay, so the most recent tweet we read from Inner City Press is the judge is looking at all 25 of these brand new pictures that Brian Steele claims he just didn't even see till last night.
What?
This morning, excuse me. These images, so they know better than saying they got something last night. Why? Because if they got it last night and they didn't share it with the prosecution, then the judge is going to keep it out. So now it's like, oh, we just got it today. We just got it this morning, just now. Now we got 25 new things we got to put in just now, right now. Okay, right. So the judge is like, what's the relevance of all this crap? Brian Steele said, oh, it's to impeach her credibility, basically to make her look like a liar. Make her look like a liar. That is the point of this. And the reason is she said she had no time to herself to tell other people. But these images show that Mia is with her friends and her family over the years. The judge said, why would a baby shower have any relevance?
Right, like
why can't you just ask questions about these? Why can't you just ask questions about a baby shower? Why do you have to show these pictures you didn't even properly admit into evidence, Brian? Brian Steele said, oh, it's because I like to do the impeachment that way. This is my method. This is how I like it. The judge said, okay, well, that's cute. No, excluded. Next. He said, absent some more arguments, some more evidence, what you told me so far right now, excluded. You got an order to follow, buddy. Start following. Can you just please admit them for the record, Your Honor? No. You have an order to follow, which you have not followed. This is cumulative evidence. It's irrelevant. It's the first rule of evidence is it has to be relevant. You, Mr. Thousands of dollars an hour, have done nothing to show that this is relevant. So no, you're not getting the shit on the record, buddy.
He is.
Move it along.
He's directing the defense. Yeah.
Your Honor, we want them in if there's an appeal.
Oh my God. Well, look at what immature. Look at what.
Of course, they're already setting up for an appeal. But all sides, the attorneys on this prosecution side, Diddy's attorneys for sure, and the judge. No matter who wins and who loses this case, is getting appealed. If Diddy wins, the prosecutors are going to appeal. If Diddy loses, Diddy's going to appeal. So no matter what, they're trying to preserve a record for appeal. Brian Steele's saying, Your Honor, we're going to go tell your bosses you didn't let these in, and we want these in. And the judge already said no. The assistant U.S. attorney said, they go in the case file, stupid. That's how we handle this. Stupid. Maybe you're not used to working in New York. That's how we handle it over here. You put it in the case file. You don't just get to put any and everything on the record. Stupid. Right. I mean, I'm not calling him that, right? I'm just acting out the part. Okay, fine. Brian Steele's not taking that for an answer. He's being belligerent. Instead of following the rules he was supposed to follow and submit this stuff before 10 o'clock last night, he didn't follow the rules he was supposed to follow. And now he's saying, I want to keep him in the record. The judge is saying no. The prosecutors are saying no. And here he is still not taking it as an answer. He said, Your Honor, I asked the witness, do you still have friends? And she said, I didn't see them. I did not have external sounding board. She said she had no time. And these pictures show she clearly had time to go to a baby shower. So I want to put these 25 pictures in. He's still arguing for it.
God damn. Who says that?
And I really do think the reason for this is to harass and intimidate. I do actually agree with Maureen Comey. And, you know, I don't agree with her every time. I don't agree with her every time. I don't even really think she should be in this position. But I agree with her. Hold on.
I wish
There's a few
Damien,
more
whatever his
tweets.
name
Let me
is,
get
was
to them.
still on this
I'm
case.
hiding this because I'm trying to not show y'all that video. It is on Intercity Press's tweets. Y'all can go over there if you're dying to see it.
Absolutely.
I'm not showing it here. Okay. So
please email me.
he said, basically, Mia's a liar. That's what Brian Steele is trying to say. She said she didn't see her friends. She said she didn't have an external sounding board. She said there was no time. And this flies directly in the face of that. The judge says the problem is putting them in the post.
Thank you, Rosetta.
They're not relevant. They are cumulative. Mm-hmm. You already spent a lot of time on that scrapbook. So no, Brian. The answer is still no. Bring Mia back in. All rise. The court is now back in session. Jury comes back in. Next question. Brian asks Mia, you and Cassie were best friends. Is that fair to say?
Oh, God, here we go.
She said, yeah, that's fair to say. We're best friends. And you said she was like your sister. Yeah, I did. You loved Cassie? Absolutely loved her, Mia said. And do you feel the same way today? Yeah, I love her like a sister today. You would never lie to Cassie, Mia, would you? No. Oh. You would never lie to Cassie, Mia, would you? She said, actually, Diddy did not allow me to tell her certain things, like where I was or stuff that he said. And remember, he was my boss, so I had to actually listen to him. So it actually created a little bit of a situation because, yeah, I kind of would have to lie sometimes to Cassie. It was pretty crappy situation, now that you mention it, Brian.
Now that you mention it.
We got a new update from CNN.
They're going to lunch in about 30 minutes.
Diddy's former assistant is back on the stand as court resumes. Okay, let's go to Washington Post.
This is exhausting.
Nothing there. Let's go to NBC. We have a new update here. Okay. I think they're getting... Yeah, okay. So we get a little bit more details from this scolding that Brian Steele, who apparently just got 25 pictures this morning, and he didn't have even so much as time to number them for the defense. And he's kind of threatening the judge, like, I want it in for the appeal. Shut up. And y'all, like, I make this like angry voice and stuff when I'm talking, like, and when I'm being Brian. That's just kind of for like affect of the story. From what I understand, Brian Steele himself is like actually very calm and has a measured demeanor in court. But I'm just kind of like, I play these parts out so that you can tell who's talking and stuff. But it's not like an accurate impersonation. It's not like an accurate impersonation or impression of Brian Steele. I'm just doing it because, like, I find his line of questioning to be asinine and worthy of going to hell. But that's just my opinion. So we get some more details about that. Here, the scolding. Adam Rice, Yang Feng, and Doha Madani from NBCNews.com. Defense scolded by prosecution for tone of questioning. Maureen Comey alerted the judge that she felt Diddy's defense was mistreating Mia, accusing Brian Steele of humiliating Mia on a witness stand. Comey laid out concerns that Steele's sarcasm and suggestions that Mia is lying are bordering on harassment, and Steele is adding to Mia's trauma. He's like traumatizing her on the stand. The judge did not agree that Steele was mistreating Mia, but he did agree that the questions had been argumentative and cumulative and just been adding up, same stuff over and over. Didn't you say, sometimes you love Diddy? Yeah. Look at this one. Didn't you say you love Diddy right here? Yeah. Look at this one. Didn't you say you love Diddy 2 years earlier? Yeah. Didn't you say you loved Diddy a year before that? It's like just over and over. That's called cumulative. Like, you've already proved your point one time and you just keep piling it on. So it's not going to go all the way up to harassment, the judge says at this point. But it is a little cumulative. It's getting a little bit excessive. And he is being argumentative, the judge said.
Them sketch artists got Diddy looking more and more like Danny Glover every day. Why he's trying to look like Mr. from The Color Purple?
Conduct. He added that the government would alert the court if it also found any. So keep objecting, and I will say sustained if I believe, if I agree with y'all. The judge then warned Brian Steele he can ask a question and move on. But if he believes that Steele is asking something just to get it out there, the judge is going to step in. And what that means, your guess is as good as mine. So let's see. Refreshing here. Okay. Y'all, they are really pulling out all the stops.
Which aren't many.
Seriously, like Brittany D said a baby shower? What is this even proving anyway?
Right.
Who's going to a baby shower like, hey, my boss harasses me, by the way, good job having a baby? Like, that's
out of place.
Please.
And she needed to save face. She probably done bragged about this to all her friends. You know how women are sometimes when we talk to our friends.
Don Diosa said, wait, cumulative. How is cumulative not harassment? If it's cumulative, it is harassment.
At this point.
I do see that argument. That being said, like, there's a certain, like, cumulative questions are also not allowed. But harassment is, like, worse. Does that make sense? Like, you're not allowed to do cumulative questions. That's a reason for the judge to keep stuff out. It's actually the reason he kept out that birthday video the first day on Friday. Even if Diddy got pardoned, not all can be. There it is, hey boo. A good lawyer also knows when to stop. Yeah. Get your point out there and move it along. He's literally putting the jury to sleep.
Come on, not
at
just
this
the
point.
Jury. God damn.
As you can see, the witness was wearing a sweater. Isn't that you also wearing a sweater? 1 week later, another sweater was worn. Didn't you wear a sweater in 2018? Yeah, it's kind of feeling like that. What was the deal with the number 6 and 7? I listened to Luther. Tay-Dot Luther, he even mentions in the song. I don't know what 6 and 7, Boy Mama, $4.99. I know they like their numbers, but I really don't know. You would have to ask the people that's still allowed to be in the cult. I think my family broke off from their getting invites to their cult stuff several generations ago or something on it. I don't get invited. But if they let me down into the basement of the Vatican at any point, I'm going to let the cousins know what they was doing down there.
I could tell you.
Okay. It is like literally so hot in here. Is like the freaking heater on?
If this one was mine, I take your dreams and make it multiply. That's the niggas that's smoking. I'm not smoking, so I don't be seeing that deep right now. We don't have marijuana here in Korea.
Oh, okay. Gotta go internship. Love you. Keep rocking the rainbow. Thank you so much, Birmingham Leprechaun. Working a new internship. Shout out to you. I'm late. Should I jump right in or go back to the beginning? You could probably just jump right in, Ashley. It's the same stuff been going on since Friday. It's just Brian Steele going overboard, in my opinion. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Kel on Earth. Kushan Delay Cousin Party Fun. Thanks so much for the $2. Cousins. Thank you, Lady Red, for becoming a member. Shout out to you, Rosa, for the $4.99. Sorry, unrelated, but are you still looking into the Dakali twins? Any updates? Such a bizarre story. I don't remember the last update I did. It is a very bizarre story. I mean, there's not that much more I can really do unless something else happens. I've alerted the police. I've alerted the FBI. I've alerted everyone I can alert. And if they're not going to do nothing, there's not much more I can do. Shout out to you. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, T Boomer, for the $1.99 super chat. This judge has no control over his courtroom. It does feel like that, doesn't it? Thank you, Guava Berry Moon, for the $4.99 super chat. I am so tired of the defense at this point.
Thank you.
If the pigs can impeach, why did they keep her on the stand this long just to try to impeach? There it is, period. I think they're just abusing her. It's my opinion. I haven't been in the courtroom, so I really don't know. Thank you, Jen, for the $9.99 super sticker. Oh, absolutely, they're going to appeal, Mr. Lord said. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat.
You know, Ryan.
Yeah, V Lockett. Thank you for the.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I think he is spiritually transitioning out of Hebrew Israelite stuff because I don't know if you heard GNX, but I really don't get down with the Hebrew Israelites either. They can be really annoying, and to be honest with you, for a long time, that's why I didn't listen to him because it's just some annoying conversation. But he really, I do think that he's starting to, spirituality is fluid. Excuse me, religion is not, but spirituality is. And I think that he's starting to understand some different things outside of the Hebrew Israelite religion. I think, honestly, Ryan, I think the judge is so lax partially because he's kind of like the referee, right? His job is to make sure the game is played fairly. So, like, he can't be too hard on one side versus another or whatever. But I do believe that Diddy's defense is ghetto as fuck. And maybe that's why I'm not a judge. And Lisa said, like the video. I'm here for that. Thank you so much. I agree. GNX is fucking fire. That album is everything. I love it. I love everything about it. All right, Rosetta, have a good time at work. Thank you for joining the replay. I will have some clips of this up. Most likely it'll be the weekend before I do, but because we're just now on the first day of the week. But maybe I'll post some clips tomorrow since I'm off work tomorrow. But yeah, I wonder, but maybe one day I'll get us in here before the testimony starts, and you'll be able to see how the judge has kept a lot of order, because the judge actually enacted a certain rule. Good to see you too, Rosetta. Thank you for being here as always, OG. Look, don't that nigga look like Mr. Look at the thumbnail that just popped up. Let me see if I can get it back. I can't. But one day I'll get us in here early enough so that you can actually hear. The judge actually enacted a rule that said any evidence that's put in has to be given to the other side, I think 24 hours in advance, so that everybody has an opportunity to review it, because the defense was going crazy with this last minute shit. Definitely enjoy your day, Rosetta. Make it a good one. Yeah, I think that was her that popped that little thumbnail up, but they are drawing that man crazy. I think they're starting to make him look like the typical representation of the devil, because his chin is getting longer and longer, his forehead is getting wider and wider. It's like, how does his face change so much? It almost feels like Birth of a Nation.
Nope, 30 minutes ago. Let's try NBC. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that the updates are getting kind of paused because they've had like 2 sidebars since the break got back in like 20 minutes ago.
And they're going to lunch probably in about the next.
Yeah, court paused as the judge warned about defense's line of questioning. Court briefly paused this morning as the judge told Diddy's attorney Brian Steele that he had asked improper argumentative questions. The remark came after prosecutors accused Steele of yelling at Mia and posing argumentative questions. The judge said he didn't hear any yelling or sarcasm, but he did warn Brian Steele not to ask questions that he knows are going to get struck from the record, just so the jury can hear the question. That does kind of, to me, feel a little bit like abuse and harassment. But the judge is like, we're not doing that thing where you just asking a crazy question that you know is going to get overturned and stricken just so the jury can hear, because that's improper. The court then resumed, but then they already went on a sidebar again. Checking out Inner City Press. Trying to be careful with that, what's it called? That preview of that video. That's why I keep bringing it down. Okay, the most recent tweet still is this one from 5. Lila said, "This is so weak of Steele for doing this." They're asking her, Guava Berry Moon said they're asking her about her communications like Diddy wasn't running around snatching his employees' phones and rereviewing the contents. True. I did think about that.
That's what I said
earlier.
He was good for that.
Thank you to Isabella for the €199 super. Thank you to Brittany, named Twin, holding it, well, almost twin. Mine's spelled with the TTANY, but it's said the same. Holding it down for the Oklahoma Cousins and the name Twins. Yep, shout out to you. Thank you for the $5. Thank you, Tracy, for the $10 super chat. What do we know about Diddy's adopted child? Which one? The Quincy or
he never legally adopted
Ava Baroni Combs? I don't know if that child was actually ever adopted. I think that might have been a joke, but I don't know. I don't know much about her. Thank you for the $10. Shout out to the Blanchards. That's my cousins too. 49 super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If Diddy threatened to tell it all, isn't that showing that something did in fact happen?
Right.
Well, that's the point, and that is why the question itself got sustained, because the way Diddy framed it in the text is, I'm going to tell it all, like making Mia feel like she had done something wrong. But if he truly did tell it all, what he would tell is that it was not a consensual act. And so Diddy saying, I'm going to tell it all, was confusing to, and this is what she's saying. I'm just telling y'all what she has testified. Mia's saying, I didn't want him to tell Cassie that I had hooked up with him because the man is a professional liar. And I figured he would blame me somehow for it. I didn't want to lose my job. I didn't want to deal with it. She even said, like, she's like, I'm not one of them ones that sued him. I wasn't never going to say this. I wasn't never going to testify to this. I'm up here now because the government has a criminal case going on against him. But this isn't something I ever wanted to talk about. And one of the reasons is because I know Diddy lies. I didn't want to sit up here and have to be called a liar. So I didn't want to deal with all of that. I wanted to just try and remember the good times and move it along. Thanks so much for the $4.99 super chat. I mean, that's at least my understanding of what happened,
So
of
why
Diddy wrote that in a message.
You aren't aware of because we came in a little later. So 2 hours ago, and this is based on Inner City Press's tweets, Judge Submarinian said, Mr. Steele, how much longer do you have on cross? Because he's had to. And Steele says, at least until lunch, maybe after. And Judge said, we're not going to have 15 more Instagram posts, are we? And Steele said, I can't promise that. So, like, the judge is really trying to rein this motherfucker in, okay? Let me see if there's anything else here, because I thought that was pretty important for us to see that the judge is like, I mean, this ain't going nowhere. You asking the same shit, you showing the same shit from different angles. Immunity order. Okay, so 2 hours ago, the judge said, let's have Mr. Garcia. And Garcia entered the courtroom, and the assistant U.S. attorney, or otherwise known as the prosecution, said, did you receive the subpoena to testify at this trial? Garcia said yes. And the prosecution said, do you intend to invoke your Fifth Amendment right? Garcia said yes. And the feds attorney said, posed immunity order, and Garcia said yes. I don't know who Garcia is, though. Who is Garcia? He said, until lunch at least, maybe later. They're just buying time at this point.
I'm not sure what he's capable of. I was terrified. We have another update from NBC. 4 minutes ago, Adam Rice, Ying Fang, and David K. Lee, Mia admits she didn't tell everything to Cassie. She said she was very close to Cassie, but admitted not telling Cassie everything she could have. She conceded she didn't tell Cassie about Diddy's alleged sexual assault on her. She also said she would keep the music mogul's whereabouts from Cassie under his orders. So, like, she said, yeah, Diddy told me not to tell Cassie where he was, and I would listen to him. I remember covering for him and feeling terrible about it. We got a new update from Washington Post 6 minutes ago. My God. Can y'all believe me and this lady are the same age? She's like a year older than me.
I can't believe that this woman is younger than me.
Federal prosecutor Maureen Comey, the daughter of former FBI director.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm 44. I think she's 39, and I feel like I look younger than her. Maybe I'm delusional.
Of Diddy's legal strategy. She objected to Brian Steele's line of questioning, accusing the defense attorney of asked that the lengthy cross-examination be brought to a close. She's like, can you just end this? at this point, Your Honor? Can we just be done with this? They've been here for doing the same things for like all day. The judge disagreed with Comey, but agreed with her in part. This lawyer, Brian Steele, on multiple occasions asked questions or posed statements that were not within the strict and narrow confines required by the court. Should Steele continue with this tactic, the judge said he's going to start blocking certain questions. I didn't take that to be an effort in any way to intimidate or harass the witness, but here's the issue. There are lines of questioning. If you had asked one question and moved on, that would be one thing. But you are often repeating the same thing multiple times. I agree with Ms. Comey where the tone is improper. We have another update from CNN. Mia says she never told Cassie to leave Diddy in the way I wish I could have. The former assistant to Diddy said she was very close with Cassie throughout her employment, but she was not allowed to tell her the truth about a lot of things. Whatever story Diddy told me, I had to uphold that lie. One of the worst parts was being put in the middle and having to cover up for Diddy to Cassie, which he forced me to do constantly. Then the defense attorney Brian Steele asked Mia if she ever told Cassie she should leave Diddy. She said, no, I never told her in the way I wish I could have, because he was stealing our phones and reading our stuff. Didn't you hear the way he found out about Cassie and Kid Cudi and almost unalived someone just a few days ago in the testimony, don't you remember? Was looking through Cassie's emails during a free call. So no, I did not put that in writing that she should leave him. I knew he could steal her phone and look at any time that anything that anybody saw, anybody sent her, he could see. She did say, I remember covering for him when he forced her to and feeling terrible about it. But if I didn't, he would have taken me away from her. Okay. Most recent tweet was, you sued Mr. Combs for $10 million. She said it was a mediation. So no, I didn't sue him. It's called mediation. You should know this, Brian. Anyway, yeah, my lawyers ended up getting $200,000 of the dollars. So I only got $200,000. Okay, please look at the screen. Is that you on your social media account? She said, excuse me, is that your social media account? She said, it looks like a text message. Sounds like me. Yeah, it's your text message to Diddy, Brian Steele said. So please look at the screen. Is that your social media account? She said, looks like a text message. Sounds like something I would say, though. So she's like, I'm not really exactly sure if that is my social media account or if it's just a text message. Okay. I just had to do some AstroTurf management. Not to mention, Cassie had a habit of telling Diddy. Yeah, storing energy. That's the thing, too. Cassie would often, like, fess up about stuff that people told. Like, she would tell Diddy stuff. Storing energy said, not to mention Cassie had the habit of telling Diddy anything somebody told her about urging them to break up. She did that with Roger Bonds. He said that. MTC Production said government has to come back on redirect and make their point clear. And I think they will. Okay, so let's see if there's update here. It looks like a text message. She said, sounds like me. It's your text to Mr. Combs. She said, I don't remember sending this. Okay, it's you in a tutu. Mr. Combs appears to be holding his private parts. In Cassie's lawsuit, she alleged sexual abuse. Yeah. So why did you still communicate with Mr. Combs? Objection, Your Honor. My God, how many freaking times? How many times is Brian Steele going to sit here? This witness, it was supposed to be done Friday. It's 11:45 a.m. today. He has done nothing but ask the same 3 questions over and over today. You're saying that he argued, but you love him? Why did you keep talking to him? How could you keep talking to him? It's the same freaking question he's been asking for 8 hours. I think she's done a good job of finally answering it. If the jury can take the answer or leave it. The judge agrees. Sustained. Next question, Brian.
Damn. Brian, it's time for you to sit the fuck down. need your credit card payments to
Okay.
post. I feel you.
We have another update from CNN.com. Diddy's ex-assistant, this is 3 minutes ago. Diddy's ex-assistant says she didn't mention SA allegations during mediation over her severance. Mia testified she never mentioned any SA allegations against Diddy in the 2017 mediation. Brian Steele asked her if she was aware of the Me Too movement at the time, and she testified she was not, and she probably was. I mean, how can you not be? Oh, in 2017, that is the year it started, right? So maybe she wasn't. I thought this was the 2020 thing. Looks like NBC has another update. 5 minutes ago, Diddy put a tracking device on Cassie's car. Mia told the court she felt terrible about covering for Diddy with Cassie, but felt that if she didn't, he would have taken away
Everything.
her access to Cassie. He would have taken away access between Cassie and Mia. Mia testified that Diddy would find out because he did steal their phones. And this is not the first person has testified about getting their phone stolen. Remember Capricorn or whoever else it was laying out on the thing, and yeah, this is the one. Poured the ice bucket on her to shock her and then took her phone away or whatever. She said she wasn't sure what Diddy was capable of, and she reiterated that she was terrified that he stole their phones on many occasions. So she couldn't fully be honest and forthcoming in her messages with anybody. No. When pressed, this is a minute ago, Anne Brannigan, Washington Post, when pressed to explain why she never told Cassie to leave Diddy, Mia said she was scared of Diddy and that had she stepped out of line, Diddy would have taken Mia away from Cassie, and they were very close friends. Quote, "He has stolen my phone many times," Mia said when defense attorney Brian Steele asked why she felt she couldn't tell Cassie negative things about Diddy, even in private. He's stolen Cassie's phone many times. He's put tracking devices on Cassie's car. Okay, the most recent thing was this right here, where it was like, Brian Steele asked, why did you still communicate with Mr. Combs? I mean, this is like the 100th time he's asked this question. I mean, he just keeps asking it over and over. How could you do that? Explain it to me like I'm 5. Explain it to me. How this man who brutalized you, you could keep on talking to him. And he just keeps, I mean, I'm not even saying he shouldn't be allowed to ask the question once or maybe a couple times, but it's like the same thing he's been asking since Friday, over and over, with more surprise, ambush, cumulative evidence. I think the judge is about to cut the defense short. I mean, the cross-examination short, unless Brian Steele knows what's good for him and just ends it himself. Now, as far as how this is reading to the jury, I have no idea. Is the jury buying this? Are they liking it? Do they like Brian Steele? Do they like the line of questioning? Do they feel bad for the witness? I mean, I don't know. It might be going over well with the jury, but I don't like the line of questioning. Doesn't seem like the judge likes it. Doesn't seem like the prosecution likes it. Mia claims she was told to lie to Cassie. This is the Mirror UK. Diddy's former assistant has claimed she was not allowed to tell Cassie of Diddy's whereabouts nor his actions. Defense criticized for questioning tone, or for questioning tone, the tone of their questioning. Go away.
He's trying to
New York
confuse the jury too.
Golly, all these freaking ads. Hold on. Did he put tracking device on Cassie's car? He's stolen my phone many times, stolen Cassie's many times, put tracking devices on her car. I'm not sure what he's capable of. I was terrified.
Excuse me for yawning.
Okay, that's still the most recent, is the, why would you still communicate with Diddy? And the prosecution said, objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered many freaking times. 2 minutes ago, foxnews.com, judge rules against adding additional photos of Diddy's ex-assistant into evidence. Diddy's defense said they were alerted to additional pictures just this morning. Yeah, right. And they wanted to use them for impeachment evidence. But according to the defense, the images of Mia spending time with family and friends, they're relevant because they show that she did have time away from Diddy. The judge ruled the photos are not admissible. The defense then asked to have them moved into evidence just to preserve the record, and the judge said no. According to the judge, the social media posts and images have no relevance, and he said the images are not going to be shown. But Diddy's attorney can still ask questions about the pictures without admitting the pictures. Mia previously testified to the long hours she allegedly endured while working for Diddy. She told the jury that she didn't sleep for 24 hours on her first day of work. The ex-assistant also claimed she was forced to work 5 straight days with no sleep.
You thought I was lying?
Feels like lifetimes ago she testified that. Mia, 1 minute ago, NBC News, Mia testifies she, quote, wanted to disalive with the secret of her abuse. She spoke to Cassie after Cassie filed her lawsuit detailing abuse against Diddy. But Mia said she didn't tell Cassie about her own experiences of abuse from Diddy. Even during that conversation, she said, I was still deeply ashamed. She said, I wanted to die with this secret. I didn't want to tell anyone, Brian. I don't know how many more ways I can possibly tell you this. I didn't tell anyone. Yeah, I didn't tell anyone on purpose. I didn't want them to know. I wanted to keep the secret to myself for the rest of my freaking life. Okay, we got another question. Did you meet these prosecutors January 2024? This would have been last year. This was months before the raids, okay? She said, I may have. I don't exactly remember. I have the calendar on me right now. Maybe. Did you tell them Diddy S assaulted you? She said, I don't remember when I told him. I told him eventually. Brian says, did you eventually get a lawyer? Mia said, yep, sure did. Sure did get a lawyer. Okay, that's the most recent. Yeah, Cole said, yeah, she said it when she realized she actually had a shot of being believed. Because y'all remember, it wasn't long ago, like about a year and a half ago, 18 months ago, you couldn't even make an allegation against almost any famous person. Like, yeah, there was Me Too. And yeah, like, I do think there were some degree of like false allegations coming out against people. But like, how many of those lawsuits that were just outright dismissed as frivolous? People were alleging that Diddy was following them, surveilling them, stealing their intellectual property. Diddy was harassing them, assaulting them at parties with rugs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And until these raids happened on his house, pretty much all of those people weren't believed. Pretty much all of them weren't believed. Most of these cases that I was aware of got dismissed out of court before Diddy even had to defend himself. The judges were just like, I don't know. Seems crazy to me. No, dismissed. No. So it's like, if I thought it was going to be an uphill battle to be believed, I wouldn't say anything either. For what? For what? Just to get some money? Just to get what? You know, okay, yeah, maybe make it easier for other people to come forward, maybe. But like, does it really? Does this seem easy? Does this seem easy? Doesn't seem easy. No, it does not to me. It seems excruciating, painful. And actually, now that I'm watching how she's being treated up here on this stand, I know exactly why she didn't say anything until now. No one believes her on his side. Brian Steele, supposedly such a nice lawyer, is even going down this crazy line of questioning. So I totally see why she didn't say anything. For what? What justice was she going to get? We have like hundreds of allegations now against Diddy, and these lawyers are still acting like it's just impossible and this girl's a freaking liar. It doesn't come as a surprise to me why she didn't say anything sooner. Okay, Diddy's lawyer, Steele, he says the following. So the lawyer who had 45 days earlier obtained an enormous judgment. Okay, so this is, I think she's represented by Wigdor or Tyrone or like somebody like that. Objection, Your Honor. What do we're going to call in an enormous judgment from someone? No. What? The judge is like, yeah, exactly. What the hell? Sustained. What are you doing, Brian? Next question. Why did you hire her, the lawyer? Oh, it must be, who is it? Her, a lawyer, her. Is it, who is Mia's lawyer? I don't know who it is. Is it Gloria Allred? Is it Lisa Bloom? Why did you hire the lawyer you hired? Objection, Your Honor. He's still trying to ask about a settlement or a judgment. Can we move on? True, the judge said.
Hold on. Hold on. I don't know what that is. I'm not sure what happened. Hold on. Oh, I think I accidentally tapped something when I just set my phone down. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I think I accidentally tapped, I don't know what I did. Shit. They getting on my nerves. I don't even go hold you. They getting on my motherfucking nerves with these dumbass questions. This is not making for good television, that's for sure. Of all the nights that I decided to stay, I mean, I've actually gotten off and gotten off of here, and then as soon as I get off, there's like this amazing testimony or something like that. But this shit, oh my god, this shit is for birds. This is stupid. This is stupid. Hold on.
She would be cracked by now if she was lying. Exactly. She offered to come and face Diddy. She's winning already, somebody said. I mean, it's just really like, if alleged victims can be held up on the...
I want to hear from Diddy. That's whose testimony I want to hear at this point. Hold on, it's coming back. Come on back.
Subjected to these same badgering questions over and over, I think it does discourage people from coming forward.
Oh my god, they do on purpose. Witness intimidation at its best, at its finest.
Come to Jesus meeting is so for real. Let me see. I got silenced when I tried. Sarah said to out my childhood abuser, and it was my grandfather, and it was because he was affiliated with powerful people, and I was and still am occasionally stalked for even so much as speaking out to the police in the first place. Why does Brian Steele look so much like Epstein? They might be cousins, girl. I mean, seems like you don't see anything wrong with what is Diddy's doing. I think I live in the same state, which means we probably cousins. We might be cousins, Moni. Shout out to you. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Kel on Earth, thank you for the $5 super chat. Is he trying to make the judge force him to move on so that he can use that as an appeal? Could be. Could be. I think they want mistrial.
They want a mistrial.
Because they can't win on the facts. I mean, it's starting to look like that to me. Sidebar. Come get your sidebars. Everybody, 2 for 1. Sidebar. Sidebar. Exactly. Diddy's lawyers are getting so annoying.
I'll be right back, y'all. I'm going to jump down because I don't have any pants on. So, I'll be right back.
Yeah, what are these sidebars all about? The judge is probably just like, where are you going with this, Brian? Like, can we get to the, next line of questioning? Because you've been on the same one for 2 days. Okay, we got 2 updates from CNN. Diddy's ex-assistant sent him birthday text days before Cassie's lawsuit was made public. Because remember, his birthday's in November, and then Cassie sued him in November. Wait, Nuria. She said, as we say in Spanish, and then provides the English translation, thankfully. Mr. Steele is stirring the poo-poo over again in case something new comes out. Ew. It's the same poo-poo as before created by your client. Exactly. It's the same one as before. Okay, the prosecution can't appeal a jury verdict? That's true. They can refile if it's a hung jury. Okay, thank you for that update. Maybe there's a mini bar at that sidebar. Maybe they taking shots over there, girl. I don't know. Thank you, Melanie, for the $6.99 super chat. This prosecution better pay for me as therapy. Well, it would be us paying for it. It would be the people paying for it. But I mean, it's pretty crazy what she's being subjected to. I will at least say with the prosecution, at least they are trying to get her off the stand. They wanted her off the stand Friday. Vortex Core said abusers are experts at still abusing, even when the abuse is over and in court.
Okay.
Attorneys who continue the campaign are abusers themselves, yep. Vortex Core says.
Hired abusers.
Steal with the poo. It's the poopy gate.
She's getting stupider and stupider.
Nicole said she also is still being harassed by the government for finally talking about how she was SA and harassed in the Army. You are threatened, intimidated, and made to feel like you were the problem, why it happened to you, and you are crazy. Wow. Yeah, we are paying for his food and other things. To those private prisons. Actually, I don't know if MDC is a private prison. Okay, so 4 minutes ago, let's read this update. Thank you to Dev Dab for the $19.99 super chat. Love from Atlanta. Shout out to the Atlanta, Georgia cousins. Thank you.
Shout out to everybody watching this with me.
Diddy's ex-assistant, this is CNN.com, 4 minutes ago. She sent him a happy birthday just a few days before the Cassie lawsuit was filed and made public. The jury saw a message Mia sent Diddy for his birthday all the way back as recently as 2023. The message included a photo of the two of them, which Mia posted for Diddy's birthday in 2014. So it was a 2014 photo. So she sends him a 10-year-old photo. She testified she didn't remember sending him the happy birthday text. She testified that the lawsuit filed by Cassie was made public 12 days after that message. Okay. And then 4 minutes ago, CNN.com. Again, Mia says she doesn't remember when she told prosecutors about the SA allegations. But she did testify that she did not initially tell them. She did not initially tell prosecutors and federal investigators about the assault allegations against her by Diddy. She testified she definitely did not tell them before she had a lawyer. So she had gotten the lawyer and then told them. Mm-hmm. But Brian Steele suggested Mia did not tell prosecutors until June last year, so a year ago. She said, again, I don't remember the dates, but I do remember having that horrible conversation with the prosecutors and telling them about it at some point eventually, but it was after I had a lawyer. Mia went to mediation and her lawyer asked for $10 million. After she was fired, Mia said she went to mediation and originally asked for $10 million. Steele, the defense lawyer, asked Mia if she had demanded that 8-digit sum from a lawsuit. She said, no, it was mediation. You should know the difference. And that's where the $10 million emerged as an opening position. Eventually they settled for $400,000 with her lawyers getting about half of that money.
They got their 40% because they actually filed a lawsuit.
Okay. Okay. They are back from the sidebar, and now they're going to talk about that infamous party at Prince's house. I had forgotten that Mia was at this party. She testified she was. Combs, Attorney Steele, for Diddy, says, let's talk about Prince's party. Now, remember, Cassie said, or somebody said that Diddy chased Cassie out of this party, and then Prince's security actually broke up the fight. Broke up the physical altercation between Cassie and Diddy.
They literally could have talked about this days ago.
And it's a very strange question here. Look, let's talk about Prince's party. You said you had no permission to go there, but you knew many people who knew Mr. Combs was going to be there. The judge's like, that's kind of confusing. What? Can you ask the question again? Okay, did you wear a disguise to Prince's party? Mia said, no. Any photos of this alleged so-called chase between Diddy and Cassie?
Who takes a
She's
picture?
Like, no. You think I took my camera out and took a picture of Diddy chasing Cassie? No. And you say you and Cassie got on a paddleboard and paddleboarded into a storm? Yup. But you don't have any recordings of that either, do you?
No, shit.
From the paddleboard? No.
Questions are so
Any note or text messages that prove it happened? Mia's like, I don't think so. We were on a paddleboard, Brian. Did you make that story up? No.
Imagine him trying to catch his child in a lie. We'll never find out who stole the cookie from the cookie jar.
Brian is stalling, they're saying.
Stalling. That's exactly what happens. And that's a good one. You're right about that. I'd like to see how he...
Now, you said you had no time with family. Did you ever go to any events with your family and friends?
Make sure we lie.
Mia said yes, sporadically, over the course of 8. But I had to be in communication with Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs 24/7. There was never a moment I was outside of his grip. Okay, but outside of the work environment, this is Brian Steele, why couldn't you explain about the abuse you were saying, that you say that you were experiencing? She said it's more complicated than that, Brian. It's not just why couldn't you? I've already tried my very best to explain this to you. If you don't get it, you don't get it. I don't know how else to say it to you. And this is where I think the judge should jump in and just say, you've already asked this so many times. 1 minute ago, Mia says reasons she kept quiet about sexual assault allegations are privileged. This is NBCnews.com. Adam Rice, Ying Feng, and Doha Madani. Diddy's defense pushed Mia about why she waited to tell the government her allegations of SA against Diddy, saying it took about 7 or 8 months talking to the prosecutors before she finally revealed that information to them. She told the court she doesn't remember the exact conversations, but she did not tell the government until she had retained legal representation. The reasons why she didn't tell them are privileged, she said. Attorney-client privilege protects the confidentiality of communications between a lawyer and their client. We got a new update from Washington Post.
I need the judge to backslap Brian Steele, or at least change attorneys, because...
Okay. Wesley Parnell, 10 minutes ago, Washington Post. Defense attorney Brian Steele asked Mia why she didn't accuse Diddy of SA during the mediation after she was fired from Combs' media empire. And Mia said she did originally ask for $10 million. She settled for $400,000. She split that with her attorneys in 2017. And at the time of her dismissal, Mia said she wasn't aware that assault could be used in a settlement negotiation. She's like, I wasn't even thinking about that. Oh, let me leverage the SA and get more money. I didn't even know that could happen. And she previously testified that she felt guilty for even doing the mediation at all, like she was betraying Diddy. The Me Too movement was launched in late 2017 and gained widespread public attention in 2018 when Harvey Weinstein was
She didn't have the
arrested.
courage either. A lot of people got more courage when Cassie came out. That's
New
usually the way that
update
works.
a minute ago. Anne Brannigan, Washington Post. After Cassie filed an ST lawsuit against Diddy November 16, 2023, Mia said she still didn't tell her friend about her own experiences with Diddy. She still didn't tell Cassie about it. She spoke with Cassie shortly after Cassie filed her complaint, but she kept quiet about her own allegations. Just because you find something out doesn't mean you immediately snap out of it, she said, adding that she was still deeply ashamed about the alleged assault. I wanted to disalive with this information, she testified.
Diddy keep passing notes, but what about that one
Isn't
time?
it true?
And
Brian
what about
Steele
that one
asked.
time? And what about that one time?
That other than the few times Diddy was violent with Cassie, which is never okay, you were comfortable with Diddy? The judge says you got to rephrase this question.
Come on, dude.
Okay, so you never advised Cassie to leave Diddy? No, I never advised her to leave Diddy. So until 2024, Brian Steele asks, you never told anyone you were abused? She said, unless it was to my therapist.
Y'all, don't this sound like fucking deja vu? I mean, literally, I'm thinking we are not live. We're live. She's live. I've gone through Inner City Press's tweets on my own. You have to go to Inner City Press on X to see how many times this man has asked her the same questions over and over again. It's ridiculous.
Brian needs to sit down. Look at this question. So you joined the Me Too money grab against Mr. Combs, didn't you?
Oh, God.
Girl, shut up, Brian. I don't know if I even like this man anymore. He's kind of like going to hell, in my opinion.
He's retarded.
You joined the Me Too money grab against Mr. Combs. That has to be objected.
I'm about to start doodling in my notebook.
Because this is like prejudicial to the other victims and the victims. Like saying like it's a money grab. What else can you get? That's the thing. What else can you get from somebody? It's not like he's going to say sorry. So what can you get? I mean, I do get it. I understand that like money can never make you whole after something like that. But what else is there? What else is there?
Oh my God, come on.
You knew Cassie received money from her lawsuit, didn't you? Yeah, Brian, it was public information.
Duh.
But you speak with Cassie.
I just got a burst of energy and I feel like it's a waste.
Brian Steele says, yeah, but how would we know that? How would we know that? You could be lying to our face. It is kind of like getting really argumentative. I think the judge needs to just say, you're done, Brian.
You're done, Brian.
Ask your last questions, and after lunch, just redirect. How would we know that? That's not her job. That's the job of the prosecution to present evidence of how you would know that.
Jenny's writing these questions, I promise you.
I think they beat this poor girl up the most of anybody so far. And it's like, why?
She held her own, though. She stood 10 toes down.
1 minute ago, Washington Post, Wesley Parnell has a new update. Mia did not make her allegations of SA known to prosecutors until June last year. That is 7 months after Cassie's lawsuit, quote, went viral, said Brian Steele during his cross-examination of the former Diddy employee who is testifying as Mia. Why did it take 7 or 8 months for you to tell the U.S. Attorney's Office that Diddy supposedly SA'd you?
Y'all ever been working on something and been like, maybe I chose the wrong project? Because right now, I could have had a V8 a long time ago.
Sufficient guidance from her legal team.
Oh my God, I feel bad for everybody covering this story right now. Give us grace. Give us
Which
grace.
is the first I'm seeing of that. Didn't receive sufficient guidance.
I'm about to draw a tree.
3 minutes ago, the Independent.com defense asks Mia when she told prosecutors about the SA claims. She said she doesn't remember, but she didn't tell them until she got a lawyer. And she said the reason that she waited is privileged. Steele suggested that it took Mia 7 or 8 months to tell prosecutors about her claims because she's a bold-faced liar. That's what he tried to say. Joining the Me Too money grab against Mr. Combs.
That's going to go down in history.
I was never outside of his grip, former assistant says. Okay, CNN.com, less than a minute ago, Mia confirmed that she was able to spend some time with friends and family while she was working for Diddy, but she said those times were few and far between. Defense attorney Brian Steele suggested that she did have time where she was outside of Diddy's grip. So Brian Steele is like, that's not true. You're lying. You did have time. She said, no, I was never outside of his grip. Adding that even when she was away from her job, she still was expected to be in constant communication 24/7 with Diddy. When Brian Steele asked why she didn't tell any of her loved ones about her allegations when she saw them, she said, it's way more complex than that, Brian. And I wasn't going to tell anybody about this ever. I didn't want to, and I wasn't going to.
How many times are they going to make her say that?
More sidebar, more sidebar, more sidebar, more sidebar, sidebar over here. You get a sidebar. You get a sidebar.
I'm going to tell you who they wouldn't do this bullshit with. Deontay Nash. Okay?
Yeah. The last 2 questions. But you speak with Cassie.
And they didn't even cross-examine Cassie's mom. Okay?
The prosecutor's like, objection, Your Honor, please. What do you mean, how would you know that? That is not her job. We have the evidence, okay? We can do the presentation of the evidence. What do you mean, how would we know that? Brian Steele said, let me show you some documents.
Oh, God.
Read them to yourself. And, Your Honor, Can we please have a sidebar?
Another.
So, of course, Brian Steele wants to go to the sidebar yet again. The judge goes to the side. They all go to the sidebar. And look at this picture. It's like the face is covered, and then with all the love in the world, heart. I got Diddy right there.
Writing his dumbass notes.
Got 2 new updates here. I was never outside of his grip. It's way more complex than that. Okay, they just let him go for lunch. The jury got let go for lunch, but I bet you they still going to be arguing. So let's see
that's what attorneys do.
What's going on. Because whenever the judge dismisses the jury for lunch, then the sidebar ends, and then they start putting it on the record. So then we can hear it. Or read it. Read the tweets, not hear it, obviously. Objection. Sidebar. Yeah, this is good, Diddy Docket. So I can show y'all what's going on. Let's go to
Robin, this quote makes
the end of the list.
This comment makes me laugh.
3 minutes ago, Fox News.
It reminds me of when Captain Williams told Shay, what did he say? Your loyalty is to losers. Something. I can't think now because I'm trying not to get sleepy. But he said something about your loyalty to losers is disappointing to me or something like that. That's what it reminds me of.
Steele then asked if Mia told Cassie that she needed to stay with Diddy. According to Mia, she doesn't remember using those words, but she said she does remember covering for the disgraced music mogul when he forced her to, and if she didn't, he would have Cassie taken away from her as a friend. Okay, Kyle Schnitzer from New York Post 3 minutes ago. Diddy's ex-assistant pressed about why she didn't bring up assault claims during settlement talks in 2017. Mia confirms she originally did ask for $10 million, but she settled for $400,000, which was split with her attorneys. $200,000 went to her. She said she wasn't aware. That the assault could be used in settlement negotiations. She testified that the first time she brought it up was sometime last year, but she doesn't remember the exact timing. Now, the judge has shortened the lunch break again.
Thank you.
It was that he was letting these lunch breaks go from 12:15 to 1:15, but since they want to drag out witnesses, he's shortened them yet again. So it looks like it's back down to about a 40, we're looking at a 35, 40-minute lunch break. But they're still sidebarring.
This is stupid. They need a new witness after lunch, otherwise they're going to lose ratings. This is stupid. Thank you guys for hanging in here with me. I'm sure many of y'all are in the bushes getting some real work done while the defense is fucking up. Just the way the defense is treating this person is proof of Sean P. Diddy Combs' behavior. Now, no, let me tell you what's crazy.
Jurors, you can leave.
Now the attorneys are part of the RICO. Now the defense attorneys are part of the RICO. Because this is another action of witness intimidation at the hands of Sean P. Diddy Combs. He has hired attorneys to suppress this witness's statement. Now the attorneys are part of the RICO.
Some go on to their break. Thank you to Selma for the 25. I don't forget what this money is. Knock. Prosecution better pay for me as therapy. Thank you to She's So Jazzy for the $9.99 super chat. Remember when Diddy thanked Cassie for holding him down during the darkest time? Yeah, I sure do. I remember hearing somewhere in all this mess, that was going to be the title of her tell-all book, The Dark Times. Ooh, that'd be a good title. Thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you, JC, for the $1.99 super chat. The BF informs me 6s and 7s is demons and angels. Oh, well, I could see that. Thanks so much for the super chat. Thank you, Easying Off, for the $10 super chat. Shout out to Taylor Swift for getting her master's back. She told everybody what they tried to do to her, then systematically triumphed. Louder for the TriStar Ops in the back. Well, there you go. Shout out. Thank you for that $10 super chat. Thank you, Selma, for the 25. Not Brian. Ever thought about it this way? Brian might be on them tapes.
Okay. Listen, I have never, in all the years of us doing the breakdown show, I have never, ever doodled in my notes. All I've ever used my notebook for was to take notes. But I had to doodle today. I drew a tree with some apples on it. I drew a heart and made it into a dress with a lady's head coming out of it. I drew that S, or I tried to go back and do that S that we used to do in middle school. I have 2 or 3 hearts, some arrows. Like, I'm not a doodler. I think it's disrespectful. I don't let my students doodle in their books. I make them erase that shit. I had to doodle. This is crazy.
Didn't want everyone knowing about mine. I hear you. I mean, now that I'm seeing how it happens.
I'm going to make some coffee.
I mean, I already knew, but like, seeing it, being reminded.
Don't go away, y'all.
See y'all after the break. See y'all in about 30 minutes. I'll be back in 30 minutes. That's all we had for right now. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Neither is opinions. Neither is reading this stuff. I don't know. I wasn't there. Love you, Mina K. Bye.
I'm going to go ahead and play something from our last episode together. I'm going to keep her in the tray. No, we're not tasting the biscuit yet. We're not going to taste the biscuit yet. I'm going to hang in there with y'all for a little bit longer. Let me just bring something up for y'all to watch to kind of remind you of how deep and dark and dirty this shit really gets. Hold on. I'm trying to decide what I want to show you. Something interesting. Alright, how about this? I feel like his lawyers are victims too now at this point. But we won't play the episode. It's an hour and 40.
Testimony or the cross-examination of it.
She describes being kicked off the yacht. He told me, you better learn to walk on water. The yacht crew obeyed Puff's orders. She thought she was going to be fired if she didn't go to that thing, so she went. All right, let's go to Inner City Press.
Inner City Press is inside the courtroom live tweeting from the trial.
Yeah, Jay, that's what it said.
Taste the goodness.
I know. I mean, that's what it said. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'll tell y'all I was not there. Thank you to Life is Like a Box of Chocolates for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, LM, for the $10 super sticker. Thank you, Brooklyn Pencil. Good morning, Slay Slay. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Iris, for the $2 Oilo super chat. Thank you, BJ Mods. Awesome job. Thank you, Tina, for the $5 super chat. Check out Piers Morgan interview last night. Suge Knight blew my mind. He says Diddy shouldn't go to prison and he'll get off. Oh, that's shady. Thank you, Tina. I'll check that out. Thank you, Sunflower, for the $4.99 super chat. You're great and so smart. You knew what they were up to and how it all connects. It's all good. All roads leads to Britney Spears, y'all. Okay, let's see if we have any updates here.
That is true, though.
We do. We have some more tweets. Okay. So after Cassie's lawsuit in 2023, did anyone contact you? Yes. Guess who contacted her, y'all? D-Rock. She said he was like my big brother. He said, how are you? What was your response? Her response was, D-Rock! Why all the exclamation points? She said, because I love exclamation points and D-Rock. She said, I understood D-Rock was no longer with Diddy. He and his wife had a restaurant in the Poconos. He wrote, I'm about to call you. What date was this? November 30th, 2023. And did D-Rock call you? Yes. And what happened on that call? Objection, Your Honor, objection.
Objection.
Brian Steele isn't having it. The judge is like, fine. Can you rephrase the question? Question. What did D-Rock say to you on the call in November last year? Oh, 2 years ago, November 2023, right after Cassie's lawsuit was filed. Mia said, well, he started with personal stuff. Then he said, the news is crazy. D-Rock says, it wasn't like that. It was normal fighting.
Normal.
Okay. All right.
What is normal
We're
fighting?
getting some insight here. At some point, Diddy's lawyers were trying to get this testimony not even allowed in. Diddy's lawyers were trying to get this witness to not be able to go by a pseudonym. They wanted her to have to go by her real name, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of the argument was going back and forth. Also, bail. Diddy was trying to get bail. This has come up many times. This witness intimidation. I could not possibly tell you which argument and which document, but I certainly remember before Diddy's team making an argument about this particular situation and the government making the argument about this situation, saying Diddy is sending people to change people's perception, or to send out feelers about people's perception of events that had happened.
So what she's mentioning, she may not remember this, but I do. It was the detention letter that the prosecutors presented to the judge to ask the judge to deny Diddy bail.
Sometime in November 2023. November 30th, 2023, D-Rock reaches out to Mia, this witness on the stand right now, and says, man, this news about Cassie's crazy, right? Yeah, no, I'm not with Diddy any longer. No, I'm not with Puff anymore. Me and my wife got a restaurant in the Poconos. We're not with Diddy no more. But I'm gonna call you. He called her. What happened on the call? He started talking about personal stuff, the restaurant, the Poconos, the kid, whatever. Then he said, wow, what's going on with this news? Crazy, right? It was just like normal fighting between Diddy and Cassie. What the hell? I mean, can't even believe her. What a bitch. And the assistant U.S. attorney is like, was this normal fighting? Like D-Rock was trying to tell you on the phone? Mia said, absolutely not. D-Rock said, Puff misses you. I bet he does. And then he implied, everyone misses you. Oh, everybody misses you. We love you so much. Don't sue us, basically.
Now,
Mia said,
this nigga done said he ain't with Puff no more. How he know Puff misses her?
Immediately thought,
how does he know everybody misses her?
Objection. The sovereign's like,
excuse me.
On what grounds, Brian Steele? What grounds are you objecting? And Brian's like, non-responsive. She's about to say something that wasn't even asked. The judge is like, okay, can we have a sidebar? Can we just get it together? Okay, so they come back. Okay, next question. Question, Nia. Where in that call did D-Rock say that he was at that time? That he had just landed in Miami. Remember, the Poconos is all the way over here in what is it, Pennsylvania, New York? That's where the Poconos, like all the way on the East Coast.
Right.
He was flying down to Miami. It was right after, let me see the exact date of Cassie's lawsuit.
It was in Cassie's lawsuit.
Somebody likes my Hillary impression. Hot Josh. I'm serious. Hot Josh.
October 2023. It's
because of the ventures. That's why she talks like that.
I want to say it was October 2023.
Cassie sued Diddy. Date Cassie sued Diddy. November 16th.
November.
She filed a lawsuit on November 16th, 2023. And on November 17th, 2023, they settled it. For now, we know $20 million. So, 2 weeks later, D-Rock, who allegedly don't have nothing to do with Diddy anymore, is on a plane on the way back to go take care of who? Christian.
Diddy.
A grown man.
Christian.
A grown man. But he needs to be taken care of.
Christian Combs.
Whoa, this is crazy. This does kind of feel like witness intimidation.
It is witness intimidation.
Diddy, former bodyguard, contacts victim 4, aka Mia.
It reminds me in so many ways of when I was in the process of exposing New Birth and Eddie Long and people from the church. Now, I knew Eddie Long, okay? I knew him. But other people were calling me, telling me, oh, you might want to get rid of this because you can end up coming up missing.
Okay. Oh my gosh. This is I think this testimony is just as big as Cassie's, truly.
Truly.
What the little pieces, the little bricks that are getting laid?
Yep.
Where did D-Rock say he was? He said he had just landed in Miami. He was going to be at Diddy's house and he was going to go take care of Christian.
Y'all don't know what a Rico look like? I know y'all do.
Still doing Diddy's bidding. Said maybe you could say something, Mia. How did you respond when he asked you to do that? Mia said, I pretended that I was going to talk to Puff. Did you want to? She said, no, with a bunch of O's. For those y'all that's laying tile, there's a bunch of O's. There's 4 O's. Mia said, I was scared. He called me right after D-Rock. So D-Rock did the priming, and then here come Diddy calling. How did you react when Diddy called you?
Y'all seen that messy shit before?
She said, I threw my phone behind the couch and ran out of the room. Why? She said it was just so triggering. Did you hear from D-Rock again? Yes. And what did he write? That your boy doesn't want you to do anything. Just to talk. I didn't want to talk to him though. I just wanted it all to go away. Y'all, this timeline. I need ChatGPT to make a massive timeline of all the testimony combined. What did D-Rock write? He said, your boy doesn't want to do anything. Oh, so excuse me. Your boy doesn't want you to do anything. Just wants to talk. Mia said, I did not want to talk to my boy. I just wanted it to go away. Then what did D-Rock write to you? Looks like a threat. To me, I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not reading the text messages. It's just my opinion. Mia said, then D-Rock wrote back, I can't believe you not hitting me back. And that was on February 22nd, 2024. When was Diddy's houses raided? The next month. Mia said, I knew he wouldn't stop, so I wrote back. I was scuba diving all day and I didn't have my phone on the boat. Was that true? No. I told D-Rock I called Puff, but there was no answer. I just wanted to play neutral. She's describing how she was approached to make a PR statement. Now, we do have people who have made PR statements. I think Kalena Harper was one. That wasn't my experience, etc. We have witnesses now who are withdrawing. They don't want, if she is about to testify that she was offered money, I'm going to have a stroke. I'm not really. That was a figure of speech.
Kalena Harper.
I knew it. Oh my God. I'm psychic. My head wasn't even tingling on that one, y'all. D-Rock said, how can I send you something? What did you think he meant? Mia said, money. I said, I don't want any money. I'm always ready to help y'all out. Then D-Rock wrote back.
That's a John P.
Quote,
Key move.
I'm allowed
right
to send my sister a gift, right? Playing on the family. The family. It's
At
gonna help.
quote.
It's gonna help the family. It's gonna help Amanda. Remember that? The family. The family. It's psychological. Okay. This is called psycholinguistics, and it is manipulative. Is it on purpose? I don't know. Maybe it's got to be on purpose to be manipulative, but it makes you think, oh no, yeah, this is a sister-brother relationship. I'm allowed to send my sister a gift. The assistant U.S. attorney said, did he send you a gift? Mia said, no. What did you think D-Rock was trying to do
They gonna object
with
to
these
this
text
part.
messages, Mia? Mia said, I think that D-Rock was trying to find out for Diddy if I was a legal threat or some other type of threat. Did Diddy text you in February 2024? This is a month before the raids, y'all. Yes. He said, call me when you have 10 minutes, comma, love. What about this one from February?
Love.
February 7th, 2024. Again, the month before his homes got raided. In this one from February 7th, 2024, Diddy said, quote, I need my memory jogged. So he was trying to get his story straight, in my opinion. And that's what I think the prosecutors are trying to lay down. Did you respond when he was trying to get his memory jogged? No, I didn't want anything to do with him. He is the person I was traumatized by. I knew this was all a front. Was this the last message? I think so. I mean, I did get some objection. Objection, Your Honor. Don't let this woman speak.
I was waiting for the objection.
Don't let her say what she wants to say on the stand. And then that's Brian Steele. And the judge is like, okay, fine. Psh, don't say anything else.
Because she's surmising what he thought. And that legally isn't legal.
I gotta do it to get through the day, you know. I add a little bit of sensationalism. Okay, 1 minute ago. Do you work now, Mia? No, I don't have a job. I have PTSD. Sidebar, they come back. What are your symptoms? She said, misinterpreting emails. Someone calls my name from across the room. All the feelings of getting in trouble come flooding back. I triple guess myself.
Poor thing.
Let's see if we have any updates from... Yeah, we have 3 new updates from Washington Post. Mia says she felt trapped on Diddy's yacht. She said Diddy became irate with her after she took too long to count his money on a chartered yacht off St. Bart's on New Year's Eve in 2010. She testified she tried to flee. She got crew members to take her to the shore. But Diddy's staff had her passport, and so she was forced to return to the yacht.
Oh, my God. They kept her
I was just overwhelmed with fear that I would be in huge trouble. I would definitely be fired, and I didn't have a way out of it. He would have destroyed my reputation. Yeah, I was scared of him. 19 minutes ago, Washington Post Wesley Parnell. When Mia finally quit her job as Diddy's assistant in 2017, she was told by executives at the company to retain an attorney to negotiate back wages, bonuses, and severance. But she testified this enraged Diddy. Diddy said he couldn't believe I essentially stabbed him in the back because I had a lawyer. She said her attorney advised her to file for a settlement given the extent of the abuse she experienced under Diddy. She said she split a $400,000 settlement from Diddy with her lawyers. The former Diddy assistant, that 18 minutes ago, Wesley Parnell, testified under the pseudonym Mia. She said she kept a bit more than half of the $400,000 settlement he paid to her after she quit.
Yeah, they
the
got
lawyers
40%.
took the rest.
They got 40%.
When asked if she would give back the money to erase the abuse that she endured, she said, absolutely, in a second. 3 new updates from CNN. Ex-assistant, 13 minutes ago, CNN.com. Ex-assistant says Combs believes she stabbed him in the back after she hired employment attorneys. Employment attorneys in 2017 to help her negotiate a severance and bonus package. She said Christina Karam, the former chief of staff of Diddy, spoke with her on behalf of Diddy, who believed that Mia stabbed him in the back. Mia's attorneys originally made a settlement offer of $10 million to Diddy and his companies, she testified. After months of long negotiation process, Mia said they settled for $400,000. Around that time, she said she told some people about the violence she endured from Diddy, but she'd not mention the assaults. She actually said she would take those to her grave. Okay, we got, let's see. We got an incoming update. That's 56 minutes ago. Let's go to Mirror. Mia felt trapped. This is going to be big. This is not domestic violence, everybody. This is employee-employer, okay? They were not in a romantic relationship. Now, is Diddy's lawyers going to come up here and say they were carrying on behind Cassie's back? Maybe. And that might be why they stealing the thunder of that argument now. Heartbroken, decision to close the company. So he can stab her in the back by closing down the company and not even telling her about it. But if she gets a lawyer, he's stabbed in the back. Witness testifies Diddy reached out to her after Cassie lawsuit. After Cassie filed her lawsuit against Diddy, Mia said Diddy reached out to her, but she steered clear of him. The government showed a February 7th, 2024 email from Diddy. This is last year, February. So Diddy had emailed Mia using kind words, asking for a phone call to have my memory jogged on a few things. No, get away from me. Mia said she did not respond. She said, I was terrified. I know this was a front. She said she hasn't been able to work because she has post-traumatic stress disorder. She hasn't been able to work. She said, I suffer from severe complex PTSD. She explained that normal situations are overwhelming and she feels
Sorry, y'all. I'm kind of jumping around trying to get her next live up in the right place on the tray, so that's why you see the bullshit. My bad. Give me 1 second. Or maybe it doesn't even play. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it to continue. It just froze on us.
rate with her after she took too long to count his money on a chartered yacht off St. Bart's on New Year's Eve in 2010. She testified she tried to flee. She got crew members to take her to the shore. But Diddy's staff had her passport, and so she was forced to return to the yacht.
Oh my God. They kept her
I was just
passport.
overwhelmed with fear that I would be in huge trouble. I would definitely be fired, and I didn't have a way out of it. He would have destroyed my reputation. Yeah, I was scared of him. 19 minutes ago, Washington Post Wesley Parnell. When Mia finally quit her job as Diddy's assistant in 2017, she was told by executives at the company to retain an attorney to negotiate back wages, bonuses, and severance. But she testified this enraged Diddy. Diddy said he couldn't believe I essentially stabbed him in the back because I had a lawyer. She said her attorney advised her to file for a settlement given the extent of the abuse she experienced under Diddy. She said she split a $400,000 settlement from Diddy with her lawyers. The former Diddy assistant, that 18 minutes ago, Wesley Parnell, testified under the pseudonym Mia. She said she kept a bit more than half of the $400,000 settlement he paid to her after she quit.
Yeah, they
Her
got
lawyers
40%.
took the rest.
They got 40%.
When asked if she would give back the money to erase the abuse that she endured, she said, absolutely, in a second. 3 new updates from CNN. Ex-assistant, 13 minutes ago, CNN.com. Ex-assistant says Combs believes she stabbed him in the back after she hired employment attorneys. Employment attorneys in 2017 to help her negotiate a severance and bonus package. She said Christina Karam, the former chief of staff of Diddy, spoke with her on behalf of Diddy, who believed that Mia stabbed him in the back. Mia's attorneys originally made a settlement offer of $10 million to Diddy and his companies, she testified. After months of long negotiation process, Mia said they settled for $400,000. Around that time, she said she told some people about the violence she endured from Diddy, but she did not mention the assaults. She actually said she would take those to her grave. Okay, we got, let's see. We got an incoming update. That's 56 minutes ago. Let's go to Mirror. Mia felt trapped. This is going to be big. This is not domestic violence, everybody. This is employee-employer, okay? They were not in a romantic relationship. Now, is Diddy's lawyers going to come up here and say they were carrying on behind Cassie's back? Maybe. And that might be why they steal in the thunder of that argument now. Heartbroken, decision to close the company. So he can stab her in the back by closing down the company and not even telling her about it. But if she gets a lawyer, he's stabbed in the back. Witness testifies Diddy reached out to her after Cassie lawsuit. After Cassie filed her lawsuit against Diddy, Mia said Diddy reached out to her, but she steered clear of him. The government showed a February.
We'll be rejoining the trial in about 6 minutes. Thank you for hanging in there, and thank you for hitting the like button while we wait.
7th, 2024 email from Diddy. This is last year, February. So Diddy had emailed Mia using kind words, asking for a phone call to have my memory jogged on a few things. No, get away from me. Mia said she did not respond. She said, I was terrified. I know this was a front. She said she hasn't been able to work because she has post-traumatic stress disorder. She hasn't been able to work. She said, I suffer from severe complex PTSD. She explained that normal situations are overwhelming and she feels triggered when someone asks her, where are you? Even if someone just says, where are you? Or if someone yells her name across the room. Okay, they're taking a short break.
They still got Mia on the stand, which is stupid.
It doesn't sound like good news that a juror would be so invested in a victim being bullied and harassed on the stand. It doesn't seem like good news. And look, they took Chloe's post down yet again, but you know, we already read it. It was public on NBCnews.com. Anyway, let's see if Inner City Press has, okay. He has tweeted, so let me make sure it's not. That's 1, 2 tweets. Okay. The most recent question was, okay, so let's just do the most recent tweet just to recap where we were on Inner City Press most recent tweet. Brian Steele began again, continuing his very long cross-examination. I think now we're going on into the second day of just cross-examination. I think he's been doing cross-examination for a full day already, full court day, if you count previous. But I could be, you know, this stuff all kind of starts to blur on itself, and I'm not referencing any notes, so I could be wrong. So don't hold me to that. Just from my memory, it's like I think it's a whole day. The prosecutors wanted this thing to be done on Friday. Today's Monday. Brian Steele obviously was nowhere near done. And then this morning, the judge was like, how much longer do you have on this? And he was like, till lunch, maybe more. Just for cross-examination. I remember she's already been examined for, I don't know, half a day or a day and a half. I don't exactly know. By the prosecutors. She's already been direct examined by the prosecutors. This is just the cross-examination. So the prosecutors have to come back and ask more questions again. So it's after lunch now, and we're still having Brian Steele ask questions on the cross. So he's asking, Mia, were you able to review over the break, the lunch break, did you review some of the interviews with prosecutors? She said, yeah. And you didn't mention S abuse till June 2024. She said, I don't remember. And you got to imagine if it was 27 meetings, it's probably who knows how much, you know, who knows how. Y'all, I barely had time to eat a little finger cookie and a half an apple. You know what I mean? Like I barely had time to do that. So I don't know exactly how much Mia is going to be reviewing. And if it is a stack of papers, you can't control F. You just got to flip. She had to eat. So Who knows how much of it she actually was able to actually look at, or if she was able to find exactly what she needed to find, or, you know, to be able to answer this question.
Please make it a good one.
Okay. So he asks her, and this is a tweet we had already read. You didn't mention as abuse till June 2024. She said, I don't remember when I mentioned it. I still don't remember to the dates. To tell you the truth, whatever. To tell you the truth, whatever. Then Brian said, okay, well, did you give all your materials to the government? She said, no, I gave all the materials to my lawyer, and then my lawyer gave the materials to the government. In these notes, did you raise sexual abuse to the prosecutors? Now, the assistant U.S. attorney objects, but the judge overrules the objection.
This is so dumb.
The reason for the objection was improper refreshment. I think I have an idea what that is, but the judge overruled it anyway. So the question is, in these notes, did you raise sexual abuse to the prosecutor?
Y'all, I really can't do another 4 hours of Brian Steele cross-examining Mia X. Shout outs to Mia X. I can't do it. I can't. It's mind-numbing. It is as abusive to me as it is to her, and it is to you. It's ridiculous, and I don't know why the court is not stopping this. It's still allowing her to be cross-examined with this dumb ass shit. So I'm gonna let it go for a few more minutes. If it don't get no wise better, then I'm gonna release you guys and let you guys go, because I'm not doing it. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I don't waste my time on stupid shit.
And he wash her hands. I'm sure she had to have some other discussions. She might have had to check in on her kids or something. So it's not like she even could have sat there for even 30 minutes, which isn't that long, and read through these pages. Maybe she could. Maybe it was 5 pages. If so, she probably did have time. But the way it was described, we read it earlier, was it was like a packet or a package or a stack or something, right? Like a package, something like that. We'll probably see it again. I'll need my recollection refreshed, pun intended. So I guess that's not a pun, but you know what I mean. I don't remember each specific meeting. He's like, isn't it true you didn't raise it January 2024? She's like, I don't know. I don't know when I raised it exactly. But yes, I think I can agree with you. I definitely did not tell them in the first meeting. So yes, if it was January 2024, correct. I didn't. She said, I don't remember each specific meeting. Okay, so Brian Steele says, and in this next document that you just reviewed, the judge says, can you please just ask her if her recollection is refreshed? And he does. He's like, is your recollection refreshed based on reading these notes and stuff? She said, no.
Watch him have the nerve to call her.
Is Sean Crowley the same as Sean?
He gonna have the damn nerve to call her
Isn't
a
there
hostile
a
witness at some point.
Chapman Holly? Probably not. No, she says, my recollection is not refreshed. Okay, so then the next question. You never mentioned abuse until you hired your lawyer, Sean Crowley.
And so
she said, I have no idea when I first mentioned it, except that it was after I had already hired a lawyer. This girl has said this, I think, 4 or 5 times.
Okay, we're not doing this. We're not giving this nigga no more energy, because he getting all this energy from all these people watching this trial, paying attention to it, for him to continue to do the same dumb shit. And I hung in there, and I waited. I stuck in there through the lunch break longer than I ever have. I am 44 years old. I will be 45 in August, and I'm going to bed. Okay? I'm going to go to motherfucking bed, because this is stupid. I will check in with it in the morning and see if he's asked any questions he hasn't already asked. But at this point, he is badgering this witness, and I'm not going to give him any more energy for it. So y'all jump on over to that surprise witness. Tell her that you're part of the breakdown crew. Tell her DELACREMEDELA sent you. I'd be more than happy to watch this in the morning. But I'm going to bed. This is stupid. I don't do stupid. I'm not stupid. Okay? And this attorney, I don't know how he's been able to hold on to this witness, since Friday, and not ask anything substantial, and ask the same questions over and over again. We all agree she did not immediately tell the prosecution that Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Patty Wacky, Diddy Doddy Dotty raped her. She did not tell the prosecution until after she had already hired her own attorney. So the fuck what? God damn. Let me get y'all something to go home to. This is stupid. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it. I'm too smart for this. And y'all are too. Stupid shit.
Would you like the rest of my sandwich?
I'm not homeless! Hey, come on, grab your stuff. I got us a place to play.
What is it?
Oh, I don't know. It's a place called Dante's or something. And they've only allowed us to do one song, so we gotta make it a good one. Come on.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Don't get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings. Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the butter spread. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the butter spread. To get your butter spread all on me. I don't like the way it mixes with my mac and cheese. Cause when you're at KFC, you got that special sauce to stir my curiosity. Just give me a 5-piece meal. Oh, what a deal. A big old box, it's all for me. You know I'll take coleslaw on the side. I could tell you wanted to try the potato wedges. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Get your honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it mixes with my chicken wings. Get none of that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes on my chicken wings. Take us out, Moose.
Taste the biscuit!
I'm gonna need Brian still to taste the goddamn biscuit and set this shit down for a second, because I think he is destroying any chance for a mistrial, for a not guilty verdict, for a hung jury, for any of that shit. It's gonna be his fault if P. Diddy loses. Oh my God, this is so stupid. I can't believe he's been allowed to do this for this many days. It's ridiculous. At this point, we're all being held hostage. They've taken all of our passports. Do you hear me? We've all been kicked off the boat with no paddle. This is stupid. And I'm not going to hold you any more than I already have. So for now, that's all I got. holla. Y'all have a good day. Have a beautiful afternoon, and I'll be back with you tomorrow, same time, so we can get back into this dumbass bullshit. Y'all, see you later.
That you